Welcome to a late Rob Noerr Normal America show. That's me. I'm your host. Oh man, apologies. Now I will say this: I was doing things related to the show, so it's not just that I'm a piece of shit that slept in. I did, but I actually was doing stuff for the show. I was doing two very cool things before I came on here. One was talking to my neighbor, who's a great dude, but we have this weird. We share a driveway. He's a great dude, by the way. I love my neighbor. He's cool as shit. He's got three kids. Two of them are graduated, and the third is probably in like 10th grade. They're all super cool with my kid. Like they'll play ball with them and stuff outside. His wife's very cool. Completely awesome family. No complaints with any of my neighbors. They're great people. But I think both of us are bullshitters. So what'll happen is you'll be doing something simple like, I got to go out to the car to unload groceries. And then you bump in and you end up talking for like 35 minutes. So that's what happened. And I think both of us are probably like, oh, we got to get going. But we're having fun talking to each other and like catching up. So I love living in a community like that where it's like, you know what? Show could get put on hold for a little today. I'm bullshitting to the neighbor. He's a good guy. And then I was talking to the Great Black Elk, my editor, and we were getting some plans going up for some projects that he's working on. He's going to start working on more of the shorts that you're going to be seeing put on YouTube. We were discussing that, some scheduling stuff like I think we're going to keep generally the call-in show around noon till about 2, generally the evening show at 10 p.m. Eastern. So we were talking about that and sort of other things like he's all encompassing. He's not just doing like the editing. He's also creating graphics and stuff like that. So really great to really great to interact with him and get some stuff planned with him. So yeah, a lot of fun. So anyway, sorry I'm late. We're going to do the call-in show today. Oh, I'm a little disheveled because I just literally, as soon as I was off the phone, like, okay, let's go. So we'll put the number out there. But we're trying to raise, I don't know how much money we're trying to raise today. Oh, yeah. $357. That's what we're trying to do. So get those super chats in there. We'll take them gladly. I'll talk a couple of channel things here briefly, and then we'll get moving into callers. And if not callers, then I'll bring up stories. But let me tell you a couple things about the channel. I always like to stall for like the first 10 minutes. We'll go late today. We'll probably go to like 2:45 or 3 since I was late. I'm not going to cheat people. We promise at least 2 hours. We deliver at least 2 hours, damn it. Also, this will be the last day of me streaming this week. Tonight will be the Griftathon. The Griftathon will start at 1 a.m. I guess that's technically tomorrow morning, but we'll start the stream tonight at 10, do a regular show till 1 a.m. Griftathon, bam. Tomorrow I'm going camping, so Friday, Saturday, there will be no streaming. So we got to make this a good one. We got to make it a banger. We have to make it a banger with the dono goal because I'm greedy. But to be honest, that's not important. We got to make it a banger, a good show. Let's get some good call-ins and some good conversation going. So that's sort of the goal. Now, what you're about to see me do is, all right, watch this. All right, I'm about to do something amazing. You're actually not going to see it. You're going to see me doing it, but you're not going to see the computer screen. I do not currently have my YouTube channel pulled up. I'm going to go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to find my comment with the invite for the show, and then I'm going to pin it to the top. Let's see how fast Boomer Rob can figure it out. All right, you ready? Let's see. My stream says we'll wait until we're at 4:10, 4 minutes, 10 seconds, and begin. All right, going to my YouTube. It's loading. All right, then I click my little icon here, view my channel. There we go. Click on the video. All right, and then I find this and pin. Bam! 17 seconds. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, come on. If that's not improvement. Just this week I figured out that you could click transcript on a YouTube video and then Control F and search for words. Watch out, world. Rob's starting to get better with technology. Watch yourself. A mere 17 seconds to open up YouTube. Damn. I mean, that's right. I get it. I'm assuming that there's Spiro. Spiro says, what you don't know is Rob practiced this for 7 hours yesterday. Spiro's entire world is being involved in tech, and he's shaking in his boots right now. He's putting on a strong face, but he's like, oh, shit. oh shit, this guy's coming for my job. He knows it. Spiro knows it. It's like, damn, I've never seen someone. I'm like Hugh Jackman in Swordfish, just like, I'm basically a hacker at this point, right? I'm assuming like the KGB, the CIA, Anonymous, they're all going to be reaching out to me like, damn, can you show me those skills? Just start calling me Morpheus, you know? Good stuff. Anyways, yay, we did it. A couple things show-wise that we're going to talk about. I think we're going to start, it won't affect you guys at all, but I think we're going to have some official streams where the dono goal is dedicated to specifically DebateCon and specifically trying to get my team out there. Because I assume, I'll be honest with you, Andrew Wilson will pay for my ticket if I want, but I'll probably pay for my own. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I want to make the offer at least for like Black Elk, if he would like to come out, EOD, if he would like to come out, because I know he's sort of local. So it'd be nice if, you know, I don't think it'll be anything different on you guys' end, but I might be like, oh, all of tonight's super chats, like once a week, are going to go to a fund, like sort of a travel fund. Not just for me, but maybe for people in the channel. And eventually what I would like to do, if we could raise enough money for that fund, is offer maybe some people in my audience that we can have some sort of just normal America meetup. And so the way that would look would be, this is going to be outside the scope of modern day debate or of the Crucible. And if I did something like that, I would like to, as much as possible, be able to take care of all the finances myself for it. So, you know, but I'll tell you this much, if we do something like that, it's going to be in my neck of the woods. We ain't fucking going to some city. It's going to be, you guys would have to come to like my rural, you know, awesome community, and we would do rural, awesome community stuff. That's what we would do. So, but I would like to, if I was going to do something like it. So I think it'd be cool to do, to like, just get a dono fund that's dedicated just to that. So it's something I was thinking about. It's not we're going to start anytime soon, but it's just something that I was like, I'll throw it out there and see if we gauge reaction, if people would be interested in that. And it's like, hey, we raised $200 tonight. Put that in the pool. I'll just put it in an account somewhere, and then we'll look at the end of the year and be like, hey, we've raised, you know, $3,000 to have a meetup. We could rent a venue with that. I could throw some of my own money in that on top of it, and then we could see about coordinating, like getting a hotel block, shit like that. Yeah, I think it'd be, yeah, Kurt would be there. He knows. We get drunk. We could, dude, like, I got enough friends that are welders, Kurt. We'll just have, like, we'll do it in my buddy's garage. We'll just have a weld-off competition. It'd be badass. I was talking to Black Elk about it. I was like, I'll tell you this. I might be soft. I'm like a fake redneck. Like, I'm a real redneck, but I'm shit at all the things that rednecks do. And I definitely have a soft job now. Like, I sit in my ass and talk about politics. I don't even do that half the time. I sit in my ass and play the Where There's a Whip, There's a Way song, and people pay me $20 to play it, and then people pay me money to not play it. That's basically what my life's become, but I'm having a great time. Or last night, people donated $357 to get me to take off this shirt that I really like, but that everyone thought was a tad bit effeminate, I guess. Whatever. That's it. That's what my life's become. That's my job. So I'm soft, but dude, how many call-in shows do you see that probably 50% of the people that call in are literally working at the time? Kurt calls in, he's fucking welding. Level 4 Lobster calls in, he's driving the UPS truck. Nate calls in, he's driving his truck. Like, it's pretty badass. All sorts of people are calling in doing real man shit. I love it. It makes me vicariously feel like a fucking man. And my wife's like, no, just because they're welders and truck drivers don't mean you are. I was like, yeah, but still, I'm tangentially connected. So pretty fucking badass. So I like that. One thing we talked about, though, I was talking to Black Elk, is sometimes the call-in shows are like, they're some of my favorite shows, but sometimes I don't get a lot of calls. And the problem then is I eat into the content that I was going to use for the night show. Then I run out of shit to say by the end of the night. So I was thinking of, like, I think what we're going to do is we're going to start doing the call-in show an hour a day, unless we're getting a lot of calls, and then we'll block out and say, yeah, we could go 2 hours or 3 hours. But if I'm not getting many calls, maybe I just say, okay, not a lot of interest today, no problem. I probably won't do that. I'll probably stay on for at least 2 hours. But that's just something I was thinking about. So those are some things I had ideas with the show to gauge reaction, to see what people think. Even the lefties. By the way, I have to give it, last night with the stream, I know there's a lot of funny people. There's a lot of people doing really good. But our friend Zris here, I was laughing my ass off at his comments because Riss is like a lefty, and he was like, "Oh, Rob, that's a fantastic shirt. My friends wear that to like pride marches, or my friend and his partner wear that shirt all the time." It was quite good. I was like, "Touche." That's. I was very pleased with those comments. I was like, "That's some funny shit." But anyways, so there you go. That's what's going on with the show and everything today. Quick super chats, then we'll get in. We got the first caller on the line. First, we have How Long Nate. Always a pleasure. Speaking of truckers, thank you so much, Nate. Really appreciate it. The Great Naughty Germ, $5 as always. Thank you. It's always appreciated. And then Seabass, great to hear from you again. $10 says, Rob, you deserve all the flowers. I think for the time being, after the accusations being made about me with my effeminate shirt last night, I'll hold back on the flowers. I don't need any more allegations. Hey, Rob, is StreamYard where we speak? Yeah. You just click that link at the top. StreamYard actually is very easy to use. All you need is a microphone, but you don't have to download anything. It'll just give you a URL. It'll ask you to type in whatever name you want to go by, and then just test your mic, and that's it. So, and then I could bring you on as necessary. If people have trouble with it, theoretically, I could theoretically go through Discord as well. Anyways, here we go. Call-ins. Let's do it. Keep those super chats coming. We're trying to get $357. Let us begin. John, how are you today, my friend?
Go, Pepsi, 7-Up. Go, Pepsi, 7-Up. Go, Pepsi, 7-Up. Go, Pepsi.
All right. Now, it's fine for me to be the butt of some joke or something like that, but I don't mind that. But I'll be honest, as an old boomer, I don't understand like the memes sometimes. So I don't know. All right, well, that was a bust, but guess what? We actually have a good caller. Nate, how you doing, my friend? Working hard today, huh?
Oh, rolling through Nevada. It sucks that the road's been kind of anemic last little bit, and unfortunately, super chats come after food on the road. But I was gonna say with the shirt, dude, would you say Jay Dyer is any kind of emasculate man? And that shirt was far more on the white and vibrant than half of his closet.
You're right.
Okay,
you're right. Now listen, I just
don't let anybody.
My wife likes that shirt.
Go ahead.
She likes the shirt. The wife likes the shirt. So in my defense.
Well, okay. So one guy that I would like to get you in touch with, if I had any way to do it, is Nick Freitas. Okay, out of Virginia, and he does a lot of stuff. Christian morality, kind of a lot more mainstream conservative, more like you. Okay. But he's also a great guy. One of his favorite lines to use is, if your wife likes the way something looks on you, she's going to like taking it off of you.
There you go. Yeah. Though, unfortunately, I took it off myself last night because the donos demanded it, but yes.
Well, it is what it is. But no, I was just I've been the main reason I called in. I just wanted to be able to reflect on last night's stuff and all that. The main reason I wanted to call in is we may actually be looking at a shortage of truck drivers in the next 2 years, and here's why. There have been a lot of trucks that have been shut down since the federal mandate that they enforce the English communication to operate a commercial vehicle across the country. Okay. Now, there are certain areas that, like, if they're doing like a local driver, they're just doing within the city, whatever. If the employer wants to hire somebody who can't communicate, that's their issue, right? However, across the country, it has been since the 80s when they started heavily regulating that you had to be able to communicate in English, and that was to protect the American drivers from being taken over by the Hispanic drivers coming up from Mexico. Okay?
Well,
but it has already been 50 years almost that has been the rule, and he's just been enforcing it. Now, with everything that's going on with that, 2 more years, hey, trucking rates could go back up because there's a lack of drivers.
so like a couple things on this.
Good industry for people to start looking at getting into now.
That's absolutely right. And like, I think I happen to know just a little, probably not near as much as you, but because like my father-in-law is a truck driver, so I hear them talk. Like, one of the things that I think maybe the average person doesn't understand, you might say, well, why is it that important to have this regulation that people speak English? It's, yes, to protect American workers is one thing, but it's also just a matter of common sense that like, you're driving this many miles on the road and all of a sudden there's a sign that pops up, hey, lane ends 2 miles. I mentioned this on the channel the other day. My father-in-law saw this happen. Some trucker who probably can't read that blows right through the fucking sign in that lane, and then all of a sudden you see him 2 miles up the road off the median, right? Because the Jersey barriers were up. Where are you going to go? And that's how wrecks get caused. Now, you might say, well, how common is that? Well, here's the thing, and this is like the way that you should look at this, right? The trucking industry, the amount of regulation that just you, average American truck driver, has to go through is insane. It is insane, and it's done in the name of, well, public safety and this and that. So why all of a sudden, when it comes to this stuff, you're like, I'll guarantee, Nate, you probably have to get monitored and get a physical like once every year or once every 2 years. Your blood pressure has to be so good. Your vision has to get tested, right? Like all of this shit.
2 years because I'm healthy.
Right. So like, there's those regulations. There's your e-log books. There's like
absolutely. Well,
just foreign drivers,
the basics.
Yeah.
Right. Just the absolute basics is a book that is literally 2 inches thick in very fine print, and that is required to be on the truck at all times in order to be able to reference and make sure that you stay within regulations, because there are regulations that change state to state.
Yeah, that's right.
And you have to be able to communicate with highway patrol and with the regulatory bodies at any point. You can't always sit and wait for somebody on your dispatch who does speak English to speak to the guys at the way station. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
the
crazy.
Port of entry. Like there are 1,001 different things. Plus, for years, one of the things that has been going on is people have been getting away with a whole lot because that I couldn't get away with because they couldn't communicate well enough for the patrol officers or for the officers at the way stations to say, how did you not know you're 1,000 pounds overweight on this axle? Do you know how to adjust your tandems? Do you know how to adjust your fifth wheel? There's no, you know what I mean? I'd be shut down for 48 hours on something like that. They're able to get away with it. Somebody hops in and slides it for them, so they're legal going further down the road. Give the company a fine, but that driver
is back on the road.
Doesn't actually have to be held responsible like the everyday truck driver.
And it's that juxtaposition, because if you take like a
it really just it levels it out. It's not being
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know
Go
there's
ahead.
a delay. For people that don't know, there's a delay because of the driving, right? But yeah,
I know I've got lag. Go ahead.
the juxtaposition is what is so striking to me. If you wanted to take like the libertarian perspective of like, well, just get rid, they shouldn't have to speak English, but all of these regulations against truck drivers are bullshit anyways. That's an argument. I'm willing to hear that. But if you're going to take we need to have all these serious regulations because trucking's an industry that public safety is so important, then why, when it comes to someone who's foreign born, is it like, oh, forget about all that? They don't even have to speak the language. The rules for them are going to be so laxed. Who gives a shit? And it's like, it very much goes back to that Solzhenitsyn quote that I talk about all the time in sort of the Soviet Union, like under the Bolsheviks, where it's like, for the thief to have a knife was just a misunderstanding. But for you to have it was like anti-Soviet propaganda. So in other words, the law is only enforced on the law abiding. So it's truck drivers like Nate that have to go through all
Right,
these
that was
loopholes.
blatant misbehavior.
That's right. All of these loopholes that real American truck drivers have to jump through that makes it harder to get into.
Oh
the
yeah,
industry.
well I'm running a truck today. Right, well, like today, I had to spend 2 hours adjusting the fifth wheel and the tandems, and I ran 4 times across the cat scale, paid for a scale 4 times to finally be able to be within regulation on weight per axle.
Yep, it's crazy.
Because I did a drop load. The guy who I took it from, he was okay with where it was at, but I have an APU which adds 500 pounds onto my drive tires. So I had to adjust a whole bunch of stuff. I couldn't go with what he had. He's got a new style truck that has like the Opti idle, and it turns on and off to maintain temperature and battery and all that stuff. I have a separate unit that adds 500 pounds that I have to account for with every load. This gross, I am 127 pounds short of the legal maximum without having an overweight permit.
It's crazy. It is. It's
127 pounds. If I was heavier, I would fail.
It's crazy. That's the margins. That's how serious these regulations are.
It's crazy.
Nate, I'm going to let you go. I got another caller on.
So anyway, I'll go ahead and let you have your talk out.
It's a pleasure as always, and we'll talk soon, man. Be safe out there. All right, we'll see you, Nate. All right. Let's get Maggie. Thanks so much for the $1 super chat. Always appreciate it, Maggie. We got another caller in. Let's see if we can get to 25% of our goal before we bring the caller in. Caller disappeared there. Anyways, let's get to the goal. The link is on the top if you'd like to call in. You could agree with me. You could disagree. Anything that's within terms of service, we'll be happy to talk about. We're trying to raise $357. Now, you might say, what's this about? Well, greed, because I want money for myself and my family. But also, more importantly than greed, pettiness. Because we want to screw over this guy, Austin Hall. Now, if you're new to the channel, Austin Hall, I'm pretty sure, allegedly, Austin Hall really thought that Jethro Tull deserved that first Grammy for metal album as opposed to Metallica. Allegedly, that's what Austin Hall believed. So, do you want a guy like that being proved right? Don't send the money because you'll want to benefit me. I mean, I'm happy if that's why you're sending it, but send the money out of spite. It'll feel much better. Revenge is a dish best served through super chats on YouTube. So let's see if we can get some of those chats in. I think it would be interesting. Now, we do have a couple callers on the line. I would like to hold the stream hostage for a bit here, and so that we could get closer to our 25% of our goal here. Fuel My Fire, $5 says, not much, but hope it helps. Have a great day, Rob. Also, screw us. No, thank you. Thank you, Fuel My Fire. I really appreciate it. Thick of a... Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. It's not that I dislike Jethro Tull, but metal? Come on. Patrick Finnegan, a.k.a. Austin Hall. Austin Hall's driving a semi-trailer without knowing English. Allegedly. I heard that. It's happening. All right, we got 2 callers on the line. They could be the greatest callers of our lives, but you're going to let it be the worst. Let's get some of those super chats in. And while we wait, I will remind you of a new rule on the channel. For a mere $20, you could have the worst deal in finances. You could donate any $20 donation or $19.99, whatever, that either mentions this or doesn't expressly say they don't want it, will receive a single playing of what's quickly become the theme song for my show to encourage people to donate.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't want to go to war today. But the Lord of the lashes says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's Fall.
It's at least good for one donation. Thank you so much to the great bandit 848, $2. As Austin Hall bought that shirt in hot pink. No! YouTube featured, it says. Really? How about it? I'm being featured on YouTube right now. What's that? Hi, YouTube. Apparently I'm being featured right now. I don't know what that means, but let me tell you a little about my show. We play this one song from this like 1970s animated Lord of the Rings. That's pretty much it. That's the show. So I hope you like that song, or maybe you hate that song and you want to tune in to get some aggression out. Anyways, that's the gist of it. So a $20 donation will play that song. We're not getting a lot of donos right now. That's okay. So let's, oh, for crying out loud. We'll wait. Minute. I saw you in the back. I promise I'm bringing you on right now. I promise. That's what I was about to do. Forgive me for trying to grift a little, but I wasn't trying to cheat you or anything like that. Maybe, unfortunately, you had limited time and I didn't know. But I'll stall for a couple minutes. If you could hear me, get back in queue. I'll bring you up as soon as you're on the queue. I wasn't trying to cause anyone to leave. It's a weird thing. I don't know how to do it properly. If it was up to me and money, if I had Elon Musk money, then I would just be like, as soon as a caller calls in, I'd be like, bam, here we go. But I am trying to raise money, so sometimes you got to poke at the audience a little, like, ah, you poke. I have an instruction manual somewhere. Let me see here. There we go. Right. Woman, bring me a drink. Give me money, fuckers. See, I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's a great that's a great comment. Communitarian Christian, thank you so much for $5. Says, I don't donate for the grift. I donate to show RTP what bots can't do, and that's spend money. Now come on, he has 120,000 people that are watching his show. Landed man wearing $20 says, play the whip song again. I love it and I hate it.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't want to go to war today. But the Lord of the lashes says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gone.
so sorry for this. Nicholas Lewis, $20 says, would like to actually talk to you at some point concerning culture, leadership qualities, and decision making of any of the topics I mentioned recently. Here's a couple to feed the grift. No whip song, please. I'm so sorry. I swear to you, Nicholas, I didn't see that when Landon donated his $20 immediately before you. But thank you. Yeah, man, call in sometime. I'd love to talk about any of those topics for real. All right. Before more people donate for the whip song, other rule is you can donate $100 to kick any caller. I want to explain this rule for a minute, what it is and what it doesn't mean, and then I'll bring on. It's sort of a shitty thing. I struggle with that, if I'm quite honest. But the way I rationalize it's this. I think that 99% of the people that call in for my show, like, he's not here right now, but, like, the next caller is going to be my friend Miggy, right? So just to show you that he's here. I'll ask Miggy when I bring him on here in a second. Hey, Miggy, if someone donates $100, would you be pissed off if I'm like, sorry, Miggy, I got to send you the back? And I'm 99.9%. He's going to be like, yeah, sure, that's fucking great. I don't care. So it's sort of just a fun little thing to do. And even people like Duck, who's more on the left. What's up, Duck? How you doing today? He don't mind. He's like, oh, okay, get your $100. I'll talk to you soon. But what I won't do, there's no amount of money, and believe it or not, it's came up, that will make me ban someone from my channel for money, kick them out of the chat, stuff like that. A harmless, like, oh, Are We Not Men timed out Abe Dinkis for 1 minute because of something. That's one thing. That's just a joke. It's no big deal. But there are people that are seriously like, well, if we could ban people if we could kick them from the call-in, can we kick them from the chat? No. Now, people can be kicked from the chat because I decide it or for moderation reasons, but I'm not taking money to do that. It's just... So I hope what people understand that, to me at least, there's a difference in those two things. And I hope that people don't take offense to that and think that I'm like, but that is the rule until we change it. So I'll bring on Miggy next. And if someone wants to pay $100 to kick him or any of the other callers. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply if it's a preordained debate. Like if someone's like, hey, calling in tonight to debate you, then we're not going to let you kick them just because you donated money. Okay. Arby, thanks so much for $5. Someone might think it's a different kind of live stream with all the whipping going on. I hear that. And then lastly, Jay Feeds, the OG says, time me out for 5 minutes. Believe it or not, it will be a process for me to do that. If one of my mods are here, they can time you out. That's fine. Now listen, Maggie, I apologize, but this caller was in first at one point, and I did promise if they called in. Minuteman, what's happening, my friend?
Not much, Rob. How are you doing, my good sir?
Doing good. It's great to hear from you. What's happening today?
Well, you too. Just want to ask them, because I got to make this quick. How do you feel about the people complaining about Trump being a quote-unquote authoritarian because he sent the National Guard down to Washington just to quell the nonsense going on down there?
I think that I'm willing to hear that sort of criticism from my libertarian friends because they've been consistent on this and they're against like police power in general, whether it be coming through an executive or not. So for that, I could hear it. And there is part of me, the libertarian adjacent part of me that says we do have to be careful of getting too much sort of police power. Like that's how we got the Patriot Act because we said, oh shit, terrorism's bad. So fuck it, like break the rules and let's stop terrorism. So I get that. But I think that what's happening here is it's an 80-20 issue that Trump's going to be on the right side of because we are constantly gaslit, manipulated, etc. about how bad crime is in many of these cities. And it's much like the economy. You can only bullshit people for so long on that. Like, I don't live in D.C., so you could bullshit me. You could be like, well, here's the stats. See, it's pretty safe. It's pretty safe in D.C. But the dudes that live in D.C., that are walking to work every day, that are getting mugged, that see the stores that they go into and all the crazy shit, that see the problem with, like, homeless people, you can't lie to them. Like, they see it. And what you're increasingly seeing is even some prominent Democrats, I saw just Joe Scarborough today was like, this is so fucking dumb for the Democrats to fight on this issue because it's a 90% issue that people are like, yep, in all these cities, shit's getting out of hand. And the brilliance of what Trump's doing here is, like, the claim that he's an authoritarian, bullshit. Like, here's how I'd respond to that. I'll show you. Watch. You want to see how I respond to that?
Yes, sir.
I don't even have to. I could show you via a post on X exactly how to respond to that. Thank you, Stephen Miller, for this. He points out, let me see, share my screen here. Hopefully you can see. So here's the great Stephen L. Miller. He says, thank you. Absolute worst post this week from Sean McClure. He put someone named McGillis. These pics from DC today are downright dystopian. And if you can't see it, if you're just listening, it's 2 pictures of the National Guard in camouflage outside the Capitol, and then, with razor wire and a fence and all of this shit. And it's like, yeah, that's dystopian, man. Except when you read the community note, the photo on the left is from 2021. Members of the National Guard were standing watch at the Capitol ahead of President-elect Biden's inauguration. So is the photo on the right. So it's like,
funny. Funny it wasn't there during January 6th, but
Well, is that authoritarian? Was it authoritarian here where oh shit, I removed you accidentally instead of I wanted to remove that. There. Was it authoritarian when who was it? Adams deployed the National Guard to subways in New York? Right? Like this, it's all nonsense. And the reason that it's unique,
that's finest.
That's right. And the reason that it's very shrewd for Trump to do this in DC, there's momentum to do it because I think he's personally pissed off because his man Big Balls got beat up, and good for Trump for sticking behind his guy. That's good, right? And DC's the one area, it's not a state. So if anywhere that you were allowed to use federal authority, it would be DC. And so it's sort of like floating it out. And what's going to happen is if Trump's able to clean up the streets of DC pretty quickly, which looks like it might be possible, what it's going to show the American people is all of these Democrat-controlled cities, it's a choice. It's not, oh, woe is us, there's nothing we could do about it. No, you want this to happen, or rather, you're allowing it to happen. Just like the border. How long did it take? Look, and before people say, Rob's just blowing smoke up Trump's ass, all he does is support Trump. I mean, half my audience is pissed because I just fucking yell about Trump so many times on so many things.
Hey, Rob, you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I was breaking up for a moment. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's just the problem is, I understand about, the possible overreach of power, but the problem is, what the hell are the lawmakers doing to enforce said laws? If you don't enforce the laws, what do you expect to do? That's the problem I'm having with, and it's annoying to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's certainly the case, right? And I think that it'll be just like the border where we were told well, there's nothing you could really do. We have to pass this legislation that would allow 5,000 a day in. And then Trump gets in and within for a couple days, it's oh, the problem's been shrunk by, 90%. And now it's 95% below the numbers of some of Biden's peak numbers. So, I mean, the truth is that there is an intention to allow some of this shit to occur. That's the truth. And it's, we were talking, I don't know how much you heard of my conversation with Nate, but the idea of all of these stringent regulations on law abiding people, and then people that are foreigners, it's fuck it. They just do whatever they want. They can't read the language. Who gives a shit, right? Oh, well. Meanwhile, it's though, but the regulations of the people that are trying to get jobs here in the trucking industry, you got to pass physicals. You got the rule books this thick. You got all these rules, regulations. They differ state to state. If you break, if you're 200 pounds at the weigh station overweight, they're throwing the book at you. It's the same thing here. They constantly, they refuse to enforce the law, and then it makes problems out of control. And so when the answer is, okay, now we have to enforce the law, and anytime that you're using law enforcement, some bad things could happen, etc. And I don't want to see it, But the problem is you've made the problem so bad, you let it get so bad that, okay, now we got to clean up the mess. And it's oh my gosh, it's going to be so cruel to clean up the mess. And I just don't give a shit what these people say anymore. I don't care. They had no problem with the, quote, authoritarianism, weaponizing the FBI, the strongest FBI task force in history, to go after fucking grandmas that happened to attend the January 6th rally. Didn't give a shit about that. Didn't give a shit about the National Guard surrounding the Capitol after January 6th. Didn't care about that. Didn't care about all the authoritarian tactics that you see from everyone from some W. Bush, but they didn't care about them from Obama. What about due process? They didn't say shit when Barack Obama executed an American citizen without a trial. Didn't say shit. Whatever. He was a terrorist. He was a bad guy. Great. Keep that energy going. Now do Tren de Argawa. I never pronounced that right, but they're bad dudes, right? Who gives a shit, right? That's your argument? So the whole thing, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear these fucking lefties. As far as I'm concerned, good. Talk about it. You defend the 80-20 issue. You tell people whose lives are going to get markedly better because crime's dropping precipitously. Yeah, but this is actually a bad thing. because Orange Man bad and the way he's going about it's bad. I say go for it. If that's the issue you want to run on, you run on that and, biological men in fucking female sports. There you go. There's the Democrat platform.
Remember, Rob, it's only bad when Republicans do it. Remember.
Yeah. Hashtag it's different, But hey, thank you so much. Thank you. Hey, Minuteman, it's always a pleasure. It's been a little while, so it's a pleasure to talk to you again. And hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. You have a good one, Rob.
You too, man. All right, good call. Good. I'm glad I got Minuteman. Sometimes you can see people in the background, and you don't want to feel like, like Miggy's in the background. I like Miggy, but I'm sitting here grifting for money, and he's sitting back there like, come on, dude. I was trying to call in and talk to you. So, how could you solve this? Well, before we bring Miggy on, we're going to try to get to 40% of our goal. Is it possible? Is it? Did anybody time out JJ Beans for 5 minutes as a request? He's going to be like, I donated $5 to be timed out, you bastard. What's up, Byron? Is Are We Not Men? Oh, there Are We Not Men's there now. See, now the pressure's on. You guys don't understand. You think that this is my channel, which it's true. It's my channel, but I'm a pushover. Like EOD and Are We Not Men and Achilles and Zen's Forehead, they'll be cracking down on me. Like, I'll get messages in the background after this video from Are We Not Men, like, what the fuck are you doing? If you would have stayed on an extra 20 minutes and grifted a little harder, you could have made your goal. And I'll be like, I'm sorry, I have a family. Shut up, family. You got to reach that goal every day. So really, I'm looking for you all's help to spare me getting yelled at here later today. Yeah, it's about time we have a mod in the house. When I'm running shit myself, it's getting out of control. Beaten Cheeks, I don't know that we've ever spoke. Let me see. Maybe. I do apologize. Sometimes I feel rude because people say, we've talked, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, see? Spiro says, Are We Not Men called me up last night just to tell me how much Rob is failing his goals so that he could practice telling Rob how he's failed his goals. Yeah. He's practicing his speeches now to yell at me. It's pretty crazy. Kokomo, $8. Oh, come on. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows eventually I'm going to be in 2 minutes, all right, let's just bring up the next speaker. We didn't get to 40% goal. And Are We Not Men's going to be like, now you have to hold out. You said 40%, 40%. That's what he'll say. So he's very harsh, but it's he gets results. You can't complain about the results. I would be honored to come on your show. Just let me know, as long as it's a time that fits me. As far as my schedule goes, obviously, sometimes things come up as an employee of the Crucible that I have to take care of, but most of the time, I'm free pretty much 7 days a week. So, just let me know. I'd be happy to do it. A lot of times, I try not to plan things on Saturday or Sunday because I try to reserve that time for my family in case it's impromptu, let's go to the zoo. Cool. We could do that, but other than that, yes, thank you, man. Yeah, I'd be honored. Landon, thanks so much for the $5. Says, donate, you fools. And incidentally, to anyone else that has a channel, I'm more than happy to come on and talk to people, debate people, whatever you guys want. Bandit 848, $2 says 23% identifies as 40%. Trans ideology even creeping into my channel. My goodness. Ron Quay, we talked to the other day. Thanks so much for the $5. Says, did you see Sisson claiming Trump lied about the Guard on January 6th because he's deploying them in D.C.? It's different to deploy at Congress via D.C., the city. Yeah, and again, what you need to understand is everyone around, people around Trump were saying, oh, we shouldn't deploy them for optics on January 6th. Trump's job, there's two different things, right? This is what was always a misnomer about January 6th compared to the systemic riots that we saw over and over with Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the ICE riots, or systemic crime that's occurring every day. One of them is something that you could plot down and you could see, okay, we could predict that this stuff's happening over and over again. The other is an impromptu riot, right? And so it's different to be okay, this is a riot, deploy the National Guard right now. There are things going on in the moment. Now, I'm not saying I think Donald Trump could have done more on January 6th. I would have liked to have seen him aggressively, immediately, as soon as violence started. Not just because it was the right thing to do, which it would have been the right thing to do, but also because it was the strategic thing to do. To be like, stop, no violence. What are you doing? Because it was evident to me this was going to be used. I could show you the video I was doing on January 6th, condemning the violence and being like, you stupid shits, they're going to use this to crack down on right-wingers from now until the end of time. So Trump should have been out there immediately. But it's a little different than in the moment did a executive make a decision to employ X amount of police force versus what is the normal stage of planning, et cetera, et cetera. The irony to me is Trump should have deployed the National Guard for fucking Black Lives Matter and Antifa in places like New York City, in places like, where was the Rittenhouse shooting? There in Wisconsin, Kenosha, right? Those places that were seeing riots every day, Portland. The National Guard should have been deployed. And if the local governors and mayors didn't like it, fuck them. Trump, as the chief executive, has the authority and the duty to protect the citizens of this country, including from raving fucking gangsters and, marauders that are looting and pillaging and rioting every night. If it just pops up once or twice, then you're like, okay. But this shit that's occurring over and over again, so it's different. Like Trump deploying the National Guard now as opposed to why didn't he on January 6th? And then there's all sorts of other questions like why was it everyone so hesitant to allow him to deploy the National Guard previous to January 6th? Like on January 5th to make sure that there was an adequate presence. Why were the Sergeant at Arms under Nancy Pelosi denying Capitol Chief Sund the ability to request? So yeah, those people can kiss my ass that say, oh, he's deploying them now, but he didn't then. I guess a similar question could be asked. Why then, if the Democrats wanted after January 6th, where there was no threat and no one being dangerous, they wanted the National Guard deployed then, why didn't they want the National Guard deployed like when Antifa was rioting? Fuck them kids, right? Those 2 young black kids that got shot in the Chaz zone, fuck them, right? Right, Democrats? Didn't want the National Guard there. All the people that lost their lives or their homes or their businesses during the Black Lives Matter riots, fuck them, right? No National Guard for that. But oh boy, January 7th, we need the Guard. All right, where was I? Super chats. The great Zachary Gelpy. Always great to hear from you, my friend. So $10 says, now we know who the man with the lashes is. That's right. I like to pretend I'm the guy with the whip, but it's not me. Also, Level 4 Lobster, Zachary, me, with the Fat Guys with Beards Club. I'm proud. I think it's one of the groups I'm most proud of. We're gonna get shirts made. We're gonna send it out to Zachary, Level 4 Lobster, and anyone else that qualifies. You'll have to show us some proof. We can't just let any schmuck in. You have to show us proof that you're a fat guy with a beard. We're not pissing around. We don't want no skinny guys or dudes with just mustaches. Got to be the beard. Got to be a fat guy. We're not pissing around with it. But we'll get some shirts made. I think it's a good. Of course, someone on Alki. Did you see Rob was encouraging his audience to be unhealthy and put on weight so that they could get shirts that he was making? Did you see that? Now, the point is, if you're healthy and a good weight, then that obviously is preferable. But a little consolation prize, if you're a little overweight and have a beard, is you get a cool shirt and you get to be in a cool club. So we'll get those made. I got some merch ideas coming. $2 says, I got to start a channel and host Rob in Lower Class. Do it. Lower Class, awesome dude, man. In fact, let's link Lower Class's channel right now. One of my favorite people to listen to. I think that in the short amount of time that Lower Class has been streaming, I could already tell how much he's found his voice. Because even me, I did a lot of debate and stuff, and I did debates in front of huge audiences, and I'm very comfortable public speaking, but it is different. Being a streamer is different. And sometimes, like, if you go back and you watch my first videos, you'd be like, who's this timid asshole, right? Who is this guy? I'll play you a video here in a minute of, like, one of my first videos, and you're going to be like, what? And I think Lower Class, way faster than me, sort of finding his voice. And you can tell that this is just who he really is. Great dude. So, yeah, check out his channel there. Even go over and give him a sub. Beaten Cheeks, thanks so much. $10 says, for good faith, man, keep up the good work. I must go back to doing some business. I'll send you a DM on Twitter soon. Don't be scared. I won't. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. And good luck to you. And then the great Max Reddick, $10 says, I think instead of Discord invasions, you should do TikTok or YouTube live invasions. More opportunities there. We need more conservatives in these areas besides Andrew. One person isn't enough. I will do the TikTok invasions. YouTube live invasions, I'll have to think about how to go about it. It's hard to find. A lot of the YouTube lives, like I looked at it the other day, they're literally taking call-ins from like a phone number. So I'd have to think, I guess I could get a Google Voice number and try that. But that's a little different. Anyways, yeah, it's a possibility, and the TikTok stuff's going to happen. But I'll probably still do Discord invasions as well. So there's infinite content to be had doing stuff like that. So we're gonna figure it out. Don't worry. All right. How cool is that? Body positive Rob. Yeah. By the way, I hope that no one no one gets offended. I think we're all fucking thick-skinned here. We're not going to complain if we're talking about the fat guy with beard club. It's really an honor. It's not an insult. So, Speakeasy. Yeah, I need to do Speakeasy. I like Speakeasy, man. I need to start doing his show more. The Verbal Combat show on Fridays. The problem is most of the time it's like it ends at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. my time. And it's like, look, man, I don't know about that. I don't know about staying up that late. Yeah, Blue Skies Invasion. That would be peak. Yeah, I could use a VoIP phone number. I could. So, all right. Patiently waiting. I threatened, I told everyone they could donate $100 to kick him or any other viewer. He's been waiting forever. One of the most frequent callers. Always enjoy hearing from him. Maggie, thank you so much, man. You're always generous with the donations and generous to call in. Let me start off asking you: if someone donated $100, you wouldn't get pissed, right? To kick you, you wouldn't be pissed off.
Nope, I would not care.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I go on like Sarah's panel and people donate $100 to kick me off. I'm like, good for you, Sarah. I think it's good. So it's not like something that I'm trying to get offense to people. I think 90% of the people, 95% of the people get it. So
I'll never worse. This ain't shit. So whatever.
Yeah. So what's on your mind today, man? How you doing?
Well, I did saw this morning. Mandani tried to visit Staten Island yesterday, and he totally got heckled.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that Staten Island is actually a Republican-leaning borough. It's the only one that actually mostly votes conservative compared to the other 5 boroughs. Well, 4 other 5 boroughs.
Yeah, it's funny because I think a lot of these people, they're not used to sort of like the AOC type people of the world. Or the Bernie supporter, or Bernie and his supporters, like they're used to being the hecklers, but now once they get heckled, it's like, like, and that's a little different. They're used to conservatives just being like, I'll keep my comments to myself. But once you start advocating radical shit, like Mamdani's advocating for socialism or borderline communism, yeah, you're gonna piss off business owners. You're gonna piss off a lot of like blue collar people, and so
Yeah, and the truth is that. Mandani, he might win because the candidates this time was pretty lackluster, and I don't know what this Curtis Lewa is doing, but he just completely throwing away the opportunity to actually do better. I guess it's a boomer type mentality or so.
It's so weird, right? Like it is boomer type with him. For those that don't know, he's this Republican with. You might know him as the guy with the beret. that runs all
the leader of the Guardian Angels.
Yes.
It used to be a big thing back in the 70s and 80s.
Yes. So he wears this beret and he's like Republican. But there is a fundamental question. And you see this debate happening a lot on the left with like the Hassan faction versus like the Destiny faction, where there's like, can you be too much of an idealist? Where it's like, well, we want it to be perfect. If it's not perfect, then fuck it. We refuse to support it. Right? Sliwa's, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm probably butchering it, whatever. It's sort of like that. So instead of, he could be reaching out to like Cuomo and like, listen, man, if I agree to drop out, will you give me some part in your administration where I could do some good? Because there's like a 0% chance that Sliwa's going to win. He's not going to win. So it's like you can actually compromise to do some good. Like sort of like RFK, right? RFK, yeah. He's like, okay, I'm not going to win, but I got a little bit of support and I could bring that support with me. So who's willing to put me in their administration so that I could focus on the issue I care the most about, which is public health? Trump's willing to do that? Cool. I'll go with Trump. My supporters will come with him. Sliwa could be doing the same thing. He could be like, okay, it's clear I'm not going to win. And it's clear that it's not a traditional Republican versus Democrat race, because what's going on is you have independents like Adams and Cuomo that aren't running as Democrat anymore that are jumping into the fray. And there ain't going to be a Republican right now, at least not Sliwa, that has a chance of winning New York. So you could hop in, they could consolidate those 3 to one candidate, and then all 3 of them have a role in the administration. Or Mamdani's going to win. and then they're going to have no power. And so there is the attitude that's sort of like you said, it's a boomer mentality. Yeah. Or like, that's just like, nope, I refuse to compromise. I must be the one that wins. That's
The
that end of story.
grandstanders.
Yeah.
That's
And
what they are. The problem is that grandstanding may work because obvious for some things, because you want to be able to hold out your position, your little bit of support, so you can actually get some concessions. But sometimes when you go too far and you just don't win at all. That was one of the things I have problem with the Libertarian Party last year when they was making a big shit about Trump and he's just authoritarian. Like, be real, every president in power is going to be authoritarian regardless to what. You want to be able to at least get some concessions out of Trump, and they did with getting Ross Ulbricht to be pardoned.
Well, I talked to like people like Casimir and I talked to Fabian Liberty because it's interesting to me because if you embrace like a principle like the non-aggression principle, then affirming aggression by supporting it, by voting for it, seems like that it could be considered immoral. In other words, they would view like taxation as a form of aggression, right? So if I vote for Donald Trump and I know that Trump is going to continue advocating for some form of taxes, then I've co-signed off on aggression. And the non-aggression principle says I can't do that. But the question I have for them is like, but at what point do you say the only chance to get to an ideal system is incrementalism? It's not going to happen where one day we wake up and it's like, oh, here's the perfect non-aggression principle and anarcho-capitalist candidate, and he's got a real shot to win. Like, that's not going to happen. The only
that's
way
never
that
going
could
to happen
because if it was ever to happen, it's going to be because we've gradually gotten there. Right? We had people that were for smaller and smaller government until all of a sudden, now your options between a small government conservative, a big government lefty, or someone who's like sort of more libertarian. But we're not going to get there now. And so, like, for example, I think that if I'm looking at like a libertarian candidate that I'm like, oh yeah, like look at that guy, he's showing that it could be done, would be Milei in Argentina. But there's a lot of people that call themselves libertarian. They're like, no, fuck him. He's a statist. He still has the state. And so I asked like Casimir and Fabian, and they like Milei. And they believe in exactly what me and you were talking about. The idea of like, look, we, in an ideal world, we would never vote for Milei. We would never vote for Trump because they are statist. And we are against that. But they're better than the alternative. And they're a step in the right direction. And so we will support that step in the right direction. If there was a reasonable, practical option that we had a chance to get less state from a third option that had a chance to win, then of course, that's where we would go. It's the same that I would say with Sliwa here, however the hell you pronounce his name. It's like, look, man, but you're not going to win, and everybody knows it. And it's okay. It's okay to run on principle, but at some point you have to say, do you want a socialist? Because that's what you're going to do. And I'm not telling him what to do. It may be, there's an argument that standing on principle is good. There is an argument and that's fine. Because you could say, well, if I compromise now, then I'll never run because I'll always be told there's not a chance to win. And that's what people told Donald Trump, that he didn't have a chance to win, and he won. And that's what they told AOC, and she won. So I'm going to stick it out and maybe I'll win. Maybe. But I agree with you. For me, I would like to see him step out and take a role in a way. I don't know what his big issue is. Is it crime, seeing that he used to be a guardian angel? Is that his Curtis's?
I mean, the problem is that like the Overton window has shifted far to the left in New York, but now it's starting to shift back to the right. But the thing is that you still have a lot of those crazy far leftists who live in the richer areas, like in Lower Manhattan or so, and you need to try to squeeze them out. The thing is, you need to build coalitions. At least what Trump was able to do was build coalitions with multitude of coalitions around him. And the problem with these grandstanders, they just don't expand their coalitions because to be honest, we're very complex as human beings, and our parties are not simple. We have a multitude of factions within our parties. The two-party system, and the thing is, with third parties, they don't understand that. You need to start looking for different coalitions that might join your cause.
So this Scooby in Twitch says Sliwa got 36% of the vote last time he ran for mayor, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is that's not really competitive, right? Like, so we live in a world where like 60-40 is not that close. right? Like even I mean, what percent of the vote did Trump get in California? Probably like close to 40%, right? And like we look at
Yeah,
California.
it was 64. It was 60. No, yeah, around there, 60-40 or so.
Yeah. And we look at California like there's no chance Trump could win that. Like that 20% gap is huge to make up that gap. So with Sliwa to get 36%, it seems like a lot. But it's even worse this time because the voters of that 36%, there's going to be an awful lot of them that might decide to go with Cuomo or Adams. Right? In other words, the Mamdani voters were never going to be Sliwa voters. So that group's intact. Then you have these other three people vying for the sort of, we don't want a socialist vote. Some of them will go with Sliwa, but some will go with Adams and some will go with Cuomo. So if they're all three in the race, in other words, they're taking voters from each other, right? It would be the equivalent if AOC ran against Mamdani as an independent while Cuomo is running against Sliwa. You'd be like, but AOC is only going to siphon votes away from Mamdani. AOC is not going to take Cuomo votes away. It's not going to take Sliwa voters away because they would never consider her. So you're splitting the vote. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if Sliwa, if he could not win when it was basically a one-on-one and he only got 36% of the vote, what are the chances that he's going to be able to pull it out? Because you're going to see a lot of people that otherwise maybe would have went with Curtis because there's no third option say, well, shit, I'll go with Cuomo. He's less unreasonable than fucking Mamdani. We're going to endorse him. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
And
Scooby gets it. There's 4 people in the race instead of 2, which you could say will benefit Sliwa, but I don't think in this case,
it's really 5, but the fifth one not so relevant. But the whole point is it's a big problem because now like Mamdani has like almost 50% unified around him. That's not a good look, especially that the other 4 are like completely divided and standing on just grandstanding on each other, not wanting to make any concessions or so. I mean, it's unfortunate, that we are in this predicament, but that's what it is. If you would really want to win, you're gonna have to find a way to build the coalitions together to try to beat this socialist. But even let's just say if Mamdani does win, and things starts to get a little bit bad for New York City, it'll be a great litmus test for the Republicans to really start putting their work in 2026.
I mean, it's really an interesting thing, right? Think of what there was a rise. I know it's like beating a dead horse. I've said this so many times on the channel, but go back to that 2016 election. Something's happening in the world around 2015, 2016, where there's a rise of like anti-establishment populism. And it wasn't just on the right. Yes, we see a lot of it. It was also on the left with the people like Bernie Sanders, right? And there were other like more radical left-wing, like what you would consider like maybe more socialist, but I think you could put under the general umbrella of left-wing populism. In other words, there's a growing frustration with average people around the world that the leadership class doesn't really give a shit about them. That's sort of in general what I mean about populists. That could have a left-wing flavor to it. It could have a right-wing flavor to it, right? I saw even in this country, I thought you could see it bubble over in 2008 with Occupy Wall Street, which was sort of left-wing populism. And then you saw the Tea Party, which was sort of complaining about a lot of the same type of things, but we're coming at it from a right-wing perspective. And so those groups seem diametrically opposed, but in reality, they're both making the argument that like the game's rigged for the people in charge, right? Whether you say, oh, that's because the government, they're the bad guys, or you say that's because the corporations that are lobbying the government. For me, the answer is the same with both. Then shrink the power of government, then there's less to lobby about. But anyways, neither here nor there. So you saw this sort of populism that was rising. 2016 comes, and one of the things was when people were predicting Trump would lose, and then even after that, after he loses in 2020 and stuff, it's like, well, the Republican Party is now fractured, right? Because you had this populist wing of it and then sort of the establishment wing, and they've clashed, and the populism wing's winning out. And so now, but there's still this big civil war going on, right? Where it's like, well, you got your Mitt Romney types and your Paul Ryan types and, these people, and they're not really on board with like the MAGA shit. They'll pretend they'll try to work with them, but there's this internal struggle. Well, now the left's going through that. The Democrats are going through that, right? They got their ass handed to them in this last election. And so they're trying to diagnose, well, what's the problem? And you have like the Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi wing that's like, okay, we're going to try to be more centrist. We're going to try to fundraise more, and of course, the biggest part of their strategy is Orange Man bad. But the problem is they've put their lot in with so many of these progressives that are now like, well, fuck you. You guys have lost. Our turn. You've pandered to this. Right. You've pandered to this base for so long. Now it's time for us to have a voice. Just like the Republicans pandered to right-wing populism for so long, and then Trump got in there and we're like, see, now it's time for us populists to have our voice, right? That's what's happening on the left. And so you're having the AOC, the Mamdanis and stuff. They're like, sit down, old establishment Democrats. We're in charge. But the problem is the version of left-wing populism, is this sort of socialism progressive, will it be popular with the American people? I think that once it would be implemented, it wouldn't be. I think people would see that it's a disaster. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But that's not
there's a prediction for that one, though.
Real quick. But that's not the question. The question's not if it was implemented. The question is, will it be popular enough to win a national election? And take polling with a grain of salt. But you know who polls really well? Bernie. He polls well in a general, like comparatively in a general election. Now, you know, he's never been the main candidate. We'll see how he can stand up to an opposition campaign. I think he'll crumble. But you get the point. Mamdani is charismatic. He's a little younger than Bernie. He's saying the right things that sort of inspire like issues that people are like, yes, I do feel I'm being fucked over finally. Similar to Trump. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Trump was as an effective like inspiration of people. But nonetheless, there's some of that there. And so it'll be interesting to see then where does that leave the establishment Democrat Party? I don't know.
Well, it's quite a good question right there, because obviously, for this prediction that the progressive wing is going to struggle for a little bit, but eventually they are going to start winning elections, because the neoliberal establishment that became like the neoconservatives, like the Lindsey Graham crowd, or like the neoliberal crowd, which is the Chuck Schumer, has failed us. They have completely just given us the same things over and over again, and has little to no results except for their own pocketbooks and so.
Yeah.
And so people like Mamdani and like anybody else that's in the on the more the MAGA right, or even in some cases more extreme, it's going to have a better appeal because they offer something different. May not be great, but it's something different though.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do. So, hey, Maggie, I'm going to get you out of here. But thanks so much as always for your support and for calling in. I do appreciate it, man.
Hey, get the grip going.
I'm about to do it. Hey, someone quick donate $100 to kick Miguel since he's leaving.
Keep the grip going.
It's always a pleasure, man. I always enjoy talking to you. So be well, and I hope I'll talk to you next week. I won't be streaming here Thursday, Friday, but maybe Monday we'll talk again. So
I would say each script a day keeps the crazies away.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. Take it easy. Thanks so much. A couple super chats to get to. Shazzy Bear, $10 says, could I grow my facial hair for a while and eat loads? Would I class as a fat man? LOL. Sure, why not? We're indiscriminate. Shazzy Bear then gifts 5 memberships. Let me ask you, Shazzy, I saw you talking. Are you working with Speakeasy over there at Verbal Combat? Are you working with them? Because I saw the conversation you were having with James. Absolutely what I'll do is, like I did last time with Verbal Combat, I'll hop in on some Friday. And I'm not going to stay for the whole time, nor do I care about winning the event. But I think it'd be fun to hop in for a half an hour, an hour or something. Just poke in, do some debating, and then leave. I have no problem with that. So I saw you guys talking about that. I'd be honored to do it. So I've been a little busy here lately on Fridays, but, I'll definitely get around to doing that. Nicholas Lewis, $20. Thank you. Says, I think I'd like to chat about COVID. I know it's an old topic, but your views seem informed. Here's another spot to keep people calling in, and the grift mantra is strong. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Nicholas. Love to talk about COVID. I think it's a topic that we should talk about at least once a week, because for me, it was one of the most authoritarian, dystopian moments of our country's history, and something that I lived through. And it wasn't just that radical lefties and people in positions of power were enforcing their authoritarianism, but it was that it was being cheered on by people that I respect, people that consider themselves small government conservatives, constitutionalists, etc. And all of a sudden, they're buying into this fear-mongering, telling us, well, we're non-essential, 15 days to slow the spread, blah, 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 bullshit. And those lies and how harmful it was, and how we're still facing the consequences with things like economics, with things like psychology of people, their psychiatric conditions, physical health things, any potential long-term side effects we see from things like vaccines, it's disgusting. And as far as I'm concerned, until there's some amount of accountability for it, we're never going to be able to get to a point where people will trust these institutions in America. So Shazzy, then, thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Did I hear Rob say that he was going to be on Crucible Weekly? No. I didn't say that. I think that you'll see me popping on the Crucible more. I got you, Shazzy. No, I have no plans to be on the Crucible Weekly. I am an employee of the Crucible. I'm doing work behind the scenes at the Crucible there, but no. I am trying to coordinate with Andrew. See, here's the problem with Andrew over there at the Crucible. He's so damn busy. It's hard for him to set a set schedule and be like, hey, every day I'm going to be streaming from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's very difficult. So because of that, like, he'll be like, okay, we're going to do a show tomorrow. It's going to be 8 o'clock. And then TikTok Invasion will be in 1 hour. It's going to start at midnight. So a lot of times I end up streaming at the same time as him because he's so busy, it's hard to coordinate. For me, being a smaller streamer, consistency is very important. So I'm not going to get preferred on YouTube's algorithm usually. I'm not going to get people that just are like, oh, thousands of people waiting for that notification to come up. Oh, Rob's streaming now. So I need people to be like, oh, it's around noon. Rob's streaming. It's around 10 p.m. Rob's streaming. They don't need a notification. It's just like back in the day before Netflix and shit like that, when you just had cable TV and you knew like, oh, it's 8:30, Monday Night Football's on. You didn't need a notification. You just knew, okay, it's on. That's sort of what I'm trying to do for consistency. As far as being on the Crucible, I mean, I will say I don't think it's, divulging any secrets. We're going to try to have the Crucible raid me at least once a week. So I'm trying to coordinate my times. But I think that a lot of nights, the Crucible, at least in the near future, when they start streaming regularly again, will probably be ending around midnight. And so then if there's like a TikTok invasion going on there till midnight, then you'll come over and I'll be doing a TikTok invasion as well. So things like that. But all right, we have the great Kurt on the line, ready to call in, probably welding his ass off right now. But let's get that goal to at least 55%. Would be fantastic. I'll probably stick with you until around 3 p.m. I'm trying to think, do I have anything going on today? I don't think so. Let me check my Discord, though. I always forget to bring up Discord when I fire up my computer, and there's a lot of people that communicate to me primarily through Discord, so it's stupid to not have it up. Discord's a blessing and a curse. The platform itself sometimes I don't like. Okay. Don't see anything. All right. You know what? You know what I haven't got to use for a while? No one's called in. It's so weird. No one's called in and like give me shit about Epstein in a while. And remember, I made this little clip. So yeah, those of you that are worried about Trump Epstein, here's my thoughts. You're right, whoever you are that's worried about this is the only issue that ever matters, and my entire show should be in perpetuity, me talking about Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. So if what you could do is replay this 1 minute over and over again, you can see me say Trump's really bad for how he's handling the Epstein thing, and we should criticize him with every waking breath that we ever have. Don't worry about feeding your family. Don't worry about supporting them. Don't worry about taking care of yourself whatsoever. All that matters is Trump Epstein. So will you join me in saying Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein. There you go. That's 55 seconds. The minute will be complete here soon. Please put that in replay for the rest of the show. Thank you. There you go. Look at it looks so much better. Look how what a scraggy, look at this beard here. You're right, whoever you are that's worried about this. That mustache. Dude, you want to know how wealthy I am? Listen, I hate to do this. I'm asking you all for money, and now I'm going to brag about how rich I am. All right, you ready? Meanwhile, you got guys like Kurt out there, right? He's going to call in. Kurt's welding his ass off right now. Nate calls in. Nate's fucking truck driving right now. Somewhere level 4 lobsters delivering another push mower to someone on his UPS truck as we speak, right? But let me tell you how rich people live. You ready? You want a little insight into what it's like to be wealthy? All right, here we go. I now schedule a haircut once a month. How about that? Yeah. Can you even imagine? Yeah. And they do the whole shebang. You know, they take the clippers and they put it at a number 2 and they go around my beard and around my hair and it takes like 5 minutes. Bam. That's what it's like. Imagine having that sort of money and it's like $8, but I always leave like $20 because I don't even give a shit. I'm like, bam, $20. How about that? Whoo, making it rain up in the barber shop. You know? That's what it's like. Bam. So that I don't look like this shithead anymore. This was poor guy. You're right, whoever you are that's worried about. That guy was poor. This guy. Yeah. Watch out, man. Woo. Now, actually, all joking aside, it's not money. It's that, dude, my old job, I never had time to go get a haircut. So I'd get all scraggly. And then when I did have time, there he is. See, level 4 lobster. Yeah, he knows. See, man, you got in the wrong line of work. You too could be getting a haircut every 4 weeks. Bam. But I never had time. So now it's nice. I just set up an appointment the first Tuesday of every month. Haircut. And they call me and say, hey, you still coming in? So yeah, there you go. I'm less scraggly. All right, we're not getting donations to fill up fast enough. We got Ron Quay, $5 says the GOP has a good opportunity for mayor if it wasn't Slua. It wasn't long ago when Giuliani was there. It's like they just gave up. Yeah. Well, that's a problem with the GOP in general. I could talk to you. Here's a fucking rant. I could go on for hours and hours about my dealings with the PA GOP and how fucking ridiculous they won't go into these inner cities. They won't go into like college campuses. They leave it to people like Scott Pressler, who's doing a phenomenal job. But why are you giving up on these areas? It makes no sense to me. I'm not saying that if the GOP went into Philadelphia, that all of a sudden we're going to win the mayorship in Philadelphia. No. But if you ever want a shot 20 years from now, you got to lay the groundwork today. And that doesn't mean that you change your core belief system. Whatever your politics is, I don't give a shit if you're a populist, if you're a neocon, if you're a socialist, whatever it is, you should be able to articulate why your system's on average best for all people. You don't have to change your message. I did a whole series of videos, going into the 2024 election about like every group that I could possibly think of why they should vote for Trump. Puerto Rican, here's why you should vote for Trump. American with disabilities, here's why you should vote for Trump. Hispanic, here's why you should vote for Trump. Progressive, here's why you should vote for Trump. That doesn't mean that I did videos like that. How many progressives do you think voted for Trump? Not many. But hey, even if it was a handful, how much effort does it take to go out and give your message to people? How do you call in? That's a great question, Peter. There's an invite list at the top of the show. Click on that. All right. Let's bring on Kurt. He's been waiting patiently. Please consider sending in some money so we don't have to...
Tariff.
You're going to get tariffed. So, the great Kurt, how you doing today, my friend?
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Oh, not much. Berating people into sending money. You know, the usual.
Hey, that happens, man. Did these unwashed masses make fun of you for having a pink shirt?
It wasn't really pink. Maybe my visuals are off, but yes, they did.
Jeez, man.
I was shamed. Yes.
That's a sign of being comfortable. Yeah, I just got me a blue suit, right, and a pink shirt to go with it, and I'm telling you, man, I look like a $10 bill.
Yeah, I think that's it. We're just comfortable in our masculinity, so we could wear whatever, and
That's right.
These people, everybody's a fashion I think that's the real sign of insecurity. Like,
when you have calluses on your hands from, swinging a hammer and the keyboard, you're not worried about what these lesser men think of you. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. The calluses from that was very fast. I don't know if people got the joke. Calluses on your hand from swinging a hammer or a keyboard. Right. That's absolutely right. You have no idea, man. My shoulders get all tense from typing. I'm constantly just typing into Chat GPT to get all my arguments to argue with everyone.
Your throat has to be fucking. I mean, you're yelling at people and shit, talking all day. I mean, that's a good muscle.
That's right.
You're doing shit.
I'm trying. It's no digging ditches, but it's honest work.
Right. But what your buddy was saying earlier, man, the trades are really the thing to get into right now, man. It's something that AI can't do. is a place to be and put your money and time into right now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I have friends that got, like, it's funny, you're a welder. I have several friends that immediately out of high school got into welding. They have no debt, right? They went to some like trade school for just hell. They took Votech in high school. By the time they got out of high school, they were like apprentice level welders. They don't have tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. And if you get talented at a job like that, there's a demand everywhere. So you can basically live in any part of the country you want, and you're making pretty damn good money. And so
I've worked all up and down the East Coast, man. Fucking anywhere I go, they'll take me.
Yep. And it's like, okay, it's not like you're making $2 million a year, but you have no debt, right? So if you're making $80,000 a year and you have no debt, like, and you're making like, it's really, and I think the thing that's understated, I had this idea, I wanted to do a show, and I might still do this. I just got to work on the logistics of this. It's sort of going to be like Dirty Jobs, except it's an interview show. And it's basically people in real life come to my basement and drink beer with me, and we're just going to talk about like doing real jobs, right?
See,
so
I had an idea about this too, man. I
think it's
had
a great
something like
idea.
this, but I want to go and find people that have been like running a single piece of machinery for like 20 years. There's a guys that have been, and they know the hiccups on it. They know, you have to rub it this way and turn this to a quarter turn off, and it gets you square every time. Or somebody that's been running like a excavator. I want to call it the master's program, and go in there and try to, fuck with them and shit.
Hey, Peter, real quick to this chatter. I will make sure that I get to you on Discord. It's sometimes I try to be a prick about it because the audio and video quality is so much better if I'm talking to people through StreamYard. But it is true. Sometimes people in foreign countries, the StreamYard doesn't work for them. So after I talk to my next guest, I will then, you'll be the third person in the queue. I'll go over to Discord and I'll talk to you. So just hang back there, Peter, and I'll get to it. It'll be a little work on my part, but yeah, and the idea I agree with you. I think that shit's so interesting. Watching people that are like, I'll give you an example. This is stupid. It's not like what you're talking about really, but you'll see how it gets to the heart of it. I had an aunt, my Aunt Sis, my dad's sister. She's just one of the most curmudgeon-y, bitchy, like, 5'5" ladies you'd ever meet, and I loved her. She was amazing. She was an amazing woman, like funny as shit, just like had this raspy voice, this old lady. She worked at a Christmas tree farm. She trimmed Christmas trees, and that's one of the first like real jobs I had when I was like 15 and 16. I worked there all summer, and it's tough work, man. You'd be out there in the heat, like dragging trees, digging trees and stuff. And so here's this like 5'5" nothing lady. She'd been doing it for 50 years. She was making $6.50 an hour. Had been there for like fucking 40, 50 years or something like that. And she's slow. Like, she's an old lady at this point, and she's short, and I'm young, and there's other younger people. And yet, going through a row of trees, she would be the first one finished every time. And you would look at her trees and you're like, I don't know how to say it other than that's perfect. Like, every tree, it's like perfect. It's like she could look at this tree and like somehow know immediately there's only 4 branches that need snipped. Bam, 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 bam. Next tree. Meanwhile, someone like me,
the Chinese call it like kung fu. Like, it's not martial arts. It's doing an act over and over and over again until it is perfect. You understand? That's how I look at it. That's why welding is for me. It's an unreachable task. I'm racing against myself every day when I weld.
Yeah, and it's like, it's amazing to me because if you met my Aunt Sis, and like I believe she was married at like 15. I mean, she came from a different generation, man. Like, she would have been, I think if she's still alive, she'd be in her 80s. So this is like, this is a long time ago. She never graduated high school, and she wouldn't be a person that you would be like, oh, that's a very academically smart person. But she and many, many people in my life, there's a level of wisdom and intelligence there. And you watch someone, like, I know people that could barely fucking read, but you give them a lawnmower engine and they're a wizard. They know a million, every little thing wrong with it. They know how to instantly fix it, tear it apart. And that fascinates me. And
there's a lot of different kinds of smart, and none of them I think you can really get from being in a lefty college. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. And so, like, but that was the idea. The other idea that I had for the show, in addition to sort of the things we're talking about, is I was trying to be a propagandist in what I think is a good way to try to not explicitly say it, but subtly say, hey, young people that are watching, you should get into these fields. And what you do is, I don't have to tell you that. What I could do is bring someone like you on, or bring one of my friends that's a welder on, and be like, tell me about your job, tell me about your finances a little. Tell me, what do you do for fun? Right? What's a weekend, Kurt, when you don't got shit going on? What do you do? And what you'll see is, just like the show Dirty Jobs, these people that work with their hands are some of the fucking happiest people in the world. Now, not everyone. If you're getting paid $6 an hour to dig ditches, yeah, that probably fucking sucks. But if you put yourself in a position where you learn a trade and things are working out for you, right? Like, it's not like happiness in life's not about like, oh, I have a yacht and I make millions of dollars. It's like doing meaningful work and being comfortable enough that you're making enough from that you could have hobbies, that you could have a family, And I thought that what better way to show people that, instead of telling them that, bring people on that I know are very fun people. They're not like, oh, my back's sore, I can never get out of bed. I'm sure they're sore, but
I hate about that.
Like,
My
dude,
wife
all
would
the
leave me
welders.
if I started bitching every day, man.
The people I know around here that like weld and shit, one of the things they do, like snowmobile riding. They all bought snowmobiles like a couple of years ago. So you'll see them like pulling like 12 strong to the bar. I'll grab a beer and shit. It's like, all right, back out in the snowmobile. Like, they're having a blast.
I do Warhammer 40K. That's my whole. I paint little models and shit like that, and I roll dice and do nerd shit. That's what I do with my money. And
now I think that young people, maybe it's changing a little now, but when I was young, I mean, it was just told, you got to go to college. That's it. Go to college. And I think that young people think like, well, there's a way to be successful in life, and it's this pattern. I got to try to get into the best college I can, and then I got to get a job in this field, and this is what my resume needs to look like. And it's like, no, that's not true. And increasingly, you're going to get screwed over. Now, how many young people do you see? Like, I was fed a false bill of goods. I got all this loans out, and now I got this worthless fucking degree, right? Meanwhile, your friend that everyone called stupid because he went to Votech, immediately got a job in some trade like carpentry or welding or something, and he's kicking ass. He has no debt. He owns a house, married, has kids, 24 years old, and a happy fucking life. Isn't worried about crippling
what's that
student
movie
loan
where
debt.
Jim Carrey's God or whatever?
Bruce Almighty.
That's the one. And the black dude, the guy that was playing God, he says some of the happiest people in the world go home smelling to high heaven.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the truth, man. I have no worries. You know what I mean? I'm pretty good, chilling. I mean, I'd like to be able to get up there and go to see Nashville. I'd like to get up there to hang out with you guys there, but I don't think that's going to happen. But fuck, I might make it to your thing.
Yeah, we'll see what's happening. We'll start planning some shit for like next year once we're like more consistent with the show here. But someone says the black dude. You mean Morgan Freeman? Yes, the black dude, not a black dude. He is the black. I always said like I like in Hollywood, like Morgan Freeman. I always consider him. He's typecast as like the quote serious black man. If you need a serious black man, you call Morgan Freeman. He has a
lovely voice.
And
his
then
voice is just lovely.
Like the action black guy, you're like, that's Denzel. I love Morgan Freeman. I think he's one of the, maybe his first movie. Here's a movie to check out for people. There's a movie called Brubaker, and it stars Robert Redford. And the plot of the movie is this character, Robert Redford's this character Brubaker, and he becomes a prison warden, and he hears that this prison is like brutally abusing the prisoners. So what he does is he goes undercover as a prisoner to see like what's going on, and not to spoil much of the movie, but spoiler alert, they're brutally abusing the prisoners. But when he finally announces, hey, I'm actually the prison warden, it's because a young Morgan Freeman who's a prisoner like grabs Robert Redford, who he thinks is another prisoner, and he's about to like take him out. And Robert Redford's like, wait, I'm the new warden. I see that they're treating you like shit. I'm gonna help. It's an interesting movie, and it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see a very young Morgan Freeman. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go, Kurt, but because I got some more callers here. But man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And keep posted or keep listening. We'll try to figure something out, maybe for next summer or fall, not this coming fall, but next summer or fall. If we have a year to plan some sort of Neuron event, we'll try to get that, and we'll do what we can to get as many people as possible to attend. So.
I'll be there.
All right, Kurt. Thanks, man. Always great to hear from you.
Take it easy, man.
Yep. Yeah. You never know. When Kurt calls on, you'd be talking a little about welding, a little about Morgan Freeman. Man, good shit. Yeah, like seriously. I mean, that was the theme of the show, Dirty Jobs. You see some guy who's like, his job's like cleaning out a sewage pit. And, No pun intended. It's like a big shit-eating grin. Like, there is something about blue-collar work. There's something about tangibly being able to see, like, I did that. You know, like my father-in-law that's a truck driver, he talks to me about this all the time. He drives oversized loads. Yeah, we are planning something now. That does mean that it's my wife that's planning something now. But my wife used to drive escort car for her stepdad that hauls these oversized loads. And one of the things both of them have talked to me about is, see, for us, for me, I happen to know in my little town, there's these trailer factories. And basically the homes they're hauling are like double wide homes. So it's just like, yeah, whatever. It's a home they're sending. That's what it's like to me. That's what it's like to you. That's what it's like when you're driving down the interstate and you see that truck with the big oversized load house and you kind of roll your eyes like, oh, I got stuck behind this truck. But you know, when that house gets delivered, there's some couple that's their home and they are beaming. This is one of the biggest moments in their life. There's their home being delivered. That's it. That's their home. It ain't some fucking mansion, but that's home. And that's an important moment. And that means something. When you're delivering that home, like, you're doing something that, like, is tangibly exciting, making someone happy in their life. You did that. You loaded that up. You drove that house there. Someone built that house, right? And that's meaningful, you know? And I think that when you can see that, when you can see your work directly impacting people in a positive way, I think that it really is something that you could be proud of. You know, you're a welder. Hell, you're a mechanic. You know, someone comes in and you help fix their car. You know, that shit matters. That's important work. And I'm not saying that it's not important, like that there's not jobs. You could be a fast food worker and you could make someone's day. I mean, seriously, it's about the attitude. But working with your hands, particular, I think that it's got the best of both worlds. You can make money. You can make serious money if you get into one of these trades. And also, you're actually doing meaningful work. Right? It's not like you're just sitting in front of a computer ranting and raving. Hey guys, by the way, speaking of meaningful work, remember $20 and you could get the Where There's a Whip, There's a
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't want to go to war today. But the Lord of the Lashes says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's.
All right. Keep getting those super chats in. We're trying to beat this bastard Austin Hall. Meaningful work. Beating Austin Hall here. 357, the day's highly unreasonable. No, sir. You're unreasonable. How about that? That really stuck it to him. Couple super chats. Shazzy Bear, another $5. Thank you. Says, here's more real money pounds, baby. Thank you. Really appreciate it. The great Zen's forehead. Last night, Zen, I don't know if you heard it. I was talking about like my 4 main mods. Like I said, EOD is very good at like creating an atmosphere to get people that want to donate. And like EOD comes across as likable and people want to donate. Are We Not Men comes across as like violent and scaring people into donating. Achilles is like one of the nicest dudes in the world. He thanks everyone for donating constantly. And then Zen's like a used car salesman. Like he's always got some angle. It's like borderline unethical to try to get people to donate. So it's a very good team of like 4 horsemen of like the 4 primary mods I have. They do a great job. But Zen says, we'll be gone for a couple days. Here's some shekels. Chat doesn't get to slack. Keep the grift going. Thank you so much as always, Zen. And then Ron again for $5 says, my dad drives concrete mixer and he loves it. He would always point out the stuff that he poured proudly. I make AR triggers. It's cool to see them at Cabela's. Yeah. I love that. I love people that are doing work that they think is meaningful. I think it's awesome. All right, keep getting those super chats in. The great Fuel My Fire. Thank you so much for calling in, man. Pleasure to hear from you. I don't know if we've ever talked. I know I see you in the chat a lot, so it's great to talk to you.
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine, man. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Just playing pool. You caught me in the middle of a pool game.
Oh, on the computer. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's all good. I lost. It's all good.
That's you know what I do all the time. I play chess on my phone. My wife gets pissed because she'll like say something. She can tell I'm not responding. She's like, "Are you playing chess again?" I'm like, maybe.
I play a little chess too.
Yeah. I'm not very good, but so what's
I'm not good either.
what's on your mind today?
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring up nobody talking about Epstein anymore.
It's well, I mean, the left
gone.
is, but
kinda.
Who gives a shit what they say, right? Again, it's still. I think the way that Trump handled it wasn't the best, but in the grand scheme of things, I guess we'll see what we see. Where are we really at? If Trump doesn't release anything on Epstein, we're basically where we were for the past 4 years on Epstein. So if there's other positive things being done, it's still a net benefit. I don't have to like it, and I don't, the way that Trump handled it. But the other thing it's hard to keep the anger up on a single issue like that. Like take it something. Like, let's steel man the argument against me. But Rob, what about Russiagate? What about COVID? You seem to still be really angry about that. But that's like systemic things that's like happening over and over again. And it's like a pattern of shit that's going on and on. Where has the Epstein story changed with Trump? Like, where are we at? I'm not going to release the list. Okay? What? It's hard for people to keep their anger up for that. Even if you're legitimately pissed at first, 7 weeks from now? You might still be pissed, but it's sort of like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's how it is. With COVID, it was like, you weren't forgetting because it's like, guess what, shithead? You're still deemed non-essential. You're still deemed it. Right now, today, they're still telling you that you have to get this medication, blah, blah, blah. So the anger of that was easy to keep up over a longer period of time. Or the George Floyd riots. You can see it every day. So it's like, yes, it's still pissing me off. If Trump's going out there every day and by the way, fuck all you people that want the Epstein files, then yes, the anger is going to continue to perpetuate because it's like he keeps bringing it up. They keep doing it. But that's not really what's happening, which I think probably someone finally got to Trump and was like, dude, now we'll see. Things could change on it. But yeah, I agree. I'm not hearing. I even made the joke earlier today. There was a solid 2-week period that every call I got was like.
That's what brought it up in my mind.
Yeah. Epstein.
Epstein? What was that?
Yeah, who's Epstein? Who's that? Yeah, so it is. It's weird how that works. But there's a lot. I mean, the news cycle, it's fast. You know. Now what's the new rage against Trump? He's deploying the police in D.C. Cool. And next week it'll be something else. He deported another Maryland man or something like that. We'll hear about next week. So the rage never stops with the lefties. They keep it up in perpetuity. So
there's always something.
Yeah.
It's always something.
Well, hey, Fuel My Fire, thanks so much. I appreciate the call. I'm going to try to figure out this Discord thing and bring on, I think we got someone from Belgium calling in. But, hey, man, I always appreciate hearing from you in the chat. And feel free to call in anytime, man.
Oh, thanks for letting me on.
Good luck with the pool game. Hopefully no one distracts you and you're able to win the next one. So
I'm trying to make it 2 million.
There you go. Hey, take it easy, man. We'll see you.
Too.
Good dude. Good stuff. All right, let's figure out this Discord stuff. Let's do it. Professional streamer, ladies and gentlemen. Professional streamer. So what I got to do is, apologies. I have a public Discord board, so you're about to see images from a public Discord board, but it's just mine, so I'm not doxing anything. But you got to. It's a little different. You got to. What's going on? Okay. All right. And then let's do this. And then let's go here. Okay. Only Mortal. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Only Mortal. Over there on Discord. Oh no. Did I go through the trouble and now you're AFK? Can you guys still hear me? Because what happens is I gotta share the audio from that screen on this computer over here. So it's gonna, if I have to mute myself on my own stream so that now you're just hearing my audio filtered through. This is why I sound like shit when I do a lot of the Discord panels, because you're not getting directly my audio straight through. You're getting my audio going through a room and then coming out as an output. That's why I say it's better for people to call in on StreamYard. But we'll wait. I'll keep talking a little. So if you hear me only mortal, I see you there on Discord. In fairness, you're in the waiting room, but it doesn't matter. I'm in the waiting room as well. So all right. Anyways, we'll wait and see if he comes on. Sorry about that. Fuel My Fire. Would have kept you longer if I knew that this other caller wasn't there, but he was struggling to figure out StreamYard. And so I wanted to make sure that I gave him an opportunity to call in. A reminder to the rest of you, if you'd like to call in, we're probably going to go one more half hour, 20 minutes to a half an hour. Then I'm going to be out for the day until 10 p.m. Eastern, and that'll be the final show of the week. I remind you, tonight will be the Griftathon. That's right, that Griftathon. This one. Oh, the Griftathon song? Do you want to hear the Griftathon song? It's going to be starting at 1 a.m. You'll have the chance to win the Chad of the Week award. Two-time champion William Gramer Jr. will be defending his title. It's going to be starting around 1 a.m. Let's play a little of the Griftathon song. One second.
Fine.
We started grifting and then Only Mortal came in, so that's all right. We got Only Mortal. What's happening, my friend? Can you hear me? Oh, there's a lot of feedback.
I will get it from go.
Oh man, the audio is really bad. Something's really bad on your audio. I don't know what the problem is. It sounds a little like feedback.
Oh.
Can you hear me? All
yes.
Right. I don't know if it's going to work, man. I think there's a problem with your audio or something.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, man. I'm sorry, it's not working.
You're coming
across.
Wait.
No. You're coming across as real garbled. I can't do this. Like it's just. All right, man. Thanks so much. Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Is there someone talking in the background?
No, I had the fan on, but I destroyed it.
Oh, okay, I can hear you a little better now, so we could try it.
Well, if you don't like it, it's fine. I just had a few questions. It's fine.
No. It's not a matter of not liking. It's just if I can't understand you or the audience can, then it's irrelevant. But you sound all right now, so go ahead. Whatever no problem. Happy to take the call.
Okay, thank you very much. I understand the rules and stuff, so I won't do that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so can I go on?
Yes, please go ahead. Everyone's waiting. It's sort of dead air, so whatever you want.
Okay. I thought that there was still a grip going on.
No,
but
good.
that's fine.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So in Europe we have a very big problem with migration and stuff, and I think that's a very good thing that Trump is doing. I don't understand why a leftist, like the latest person you have been speaking to, thinks it's a bad thing. It's disgusting to me. So I agree with that on you. What do you think about the Russia-Ukraine stuff? Friday or tomorrow, he's going to go to Alaska. I think it's an interesting thing. I've seen lots of leftists saying, "Oh, he's capitulating to Russians. He's a Russian stooge." Again with that Russian propaganda thing. I think it's a good thing. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I also agree with that in general. For me, I don't particularly like Russia or Putin. If it was up to me, they would lose the war and leave voluntarily right now. Yay. Now, I don't like Zelensky either. And I think that the Ukrainian government is massively corrupt. And I'm still really pissed off that they interred and led to the death of an American named Gonzalo Lira and never apologized for that. So they can go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned over that. But even beyond that, like the corruption of Ukraine, is through the charts. Just to give a little background on what I think about this, I actually feel terrible for the people of Ukraine. I feel that people of Ukraine, since the fall of the Soviet Union, haven't had a leadership that gave a shit about them at all. They had leadership that, let's be honest, were basically Russia's little stepbrother, and then that switched after like the Maidan Revolution to being Obama's little stepbrother, right? And so where is the government of Ukraine looking first and foremost out for the people of Ukraine? Of course, you could say that same thing about governments around the world, including the United States, probably, including a bunch of European nations, which if you're in Europe, if you're in Belgium, like how many European nations have sold out their own people and abdicate authority to Brussels, where not one person in the country has a fucking vote, but instead bureaucrats in Brussels are making decisions for all of your country, and the people of your country don't have a say. And then beyond that, you're called a racist for not liking that they're inundating your country with people that are massively different than you culturally, and then telling you that you're racist for noticing it. I say fuck that. I say that the role of the government is to represent the will of the people, and it's perfectly reasonable for the people to not want radical changes in their culture. And anyone who's telling you that you can't notice that because you're a racist is a piece of shit that probably doesn't like you for your culture anyways, but they're afraid to just announce that. So instead what they do is they stand behind the mantra of, but you're racist, and so therefore you can't criticize that. In this country, the way they do that
I fully agree that.
Yeah. So in
I fully agree with that.
In the United States, what they do is they call it the Great Replacement Theory, and they say that it's racist to notice that they're bringing in millions and millions of people that don't share a lot of the cultural identity with this country. We
have the same thing.
I personally could give a shit less about race. I don't care. I would feel the same
way. We have the same.
Yep. Sorry. Oh yeah. So
no, well.
We both, there must be a little delay. We both keep talking at the same time. So I'll finish and then I promise I'll be quiet and let you talk. But so anyways, that's my feelings on Ukraine. I think that the United States and Russia are using Ukraine as sort of a proxy battlefield. And so you probably had Yanukovych that was an ally of Russia. Then the United States was involved either at the onset of the Maidan Revolution, involved in a color revolution, or of directing the results of that revolution to point someone in like Poroshenko that was considered basically a puppet of Obama. Then we went on to Zelensky. And so that's basically the United States, the people that are making these decisions that want to like put Ukrainian flags in their bios and they want to say, you know, fight to the last Ukrainian. Fuck them. Yeah, it's easy for them to say. They're not the people that are having an entire generation of their people's young men being wiped out in a war. So it's easy for me to sit here in the United States and say, sure, send more weapons to Ukraine. Let those Ukrainian men, many of them that are being conscripted into service, send them to the front line. Let them fight. Or as Lindsey Graham says, you know, well, it's better that we're fighting over there. Look at how much damage we're causing Russia, and it's not our people that are dying. Fuck you, you bloodthirsty warmonger. I don't want to see Ukrainian men die either, or for that matter, Russian men. And so for me, I think that you have to be reasonable and look at the situation on the ground. And the truth is, Ukraine's losing. And as such, if there's going to be a peaceful resolution, which I want first and foremost, the nature of the world is the side that is winning has the leverage. And that means that you're going to have to give in to some of their demands. Now, I don't think that it would be prudent to give in to like Russia's entire demands, but they're negotiating from a position of strength. And that means if you want this war to end, that Ukraine's going to have to give something up, whether that be lands, whether that be guarantees that they won't enter NATO, etc. That's what's going on. Artificially, that hasn't been able to occur because the West, the United States, NATO countries, etc., have been arming Ukraine. And so it's been prolonging the conflict. If the West wouldn't have been arming Ukraine, then they would have came to the negotiating table many moons ago. But they can't, or they didn't, because they're like, well, we're backed up by our big brothers in the West. And so I think that the role of Donald Trump, and I'm pleased to see, we'll see what happens, he should be like, my role is to be a mediator. Right? We're going to stop funding Ukraine. So Ukraine, you got to sit down and negotiate. Russia, you got to sit down and negotiate. Here's some carrots. Russia, we'll enter into some better trade deals with you. You know, But there has to be a negotiation. So, a long-winded way of answering your question, I'm hopeful that this summit actually leads to a peaceful resolution. And if so, even though it took longer than Trump claimed, I think that it would be a tremendous feather in his cap if he's able to stop the death and destruction that we see going on over there.
I am hopeful too that that would happen. But if you listen to the European leaders, they say, well, Trump, when he goes to Alaska, he cannot cross the red lines of the European Union and the Ukraine. What does that mean? Well, you can surmise what that means. It means that we cannot stop the war. So, and by the way, all of the most of West European Union doesn't want to fight Russia. We don't give a shit about Ukraine. They can take it. It's okay. I want just this is the only time someone says this. It's insane that nobody asked the peoples of the European Union about the Russia-Ukraine war.
I predicted this.
So I wanted to say this.
I predicted this years ago. Like after a couple months of this war, I was like, I'm going to spoil the ending for you. You ready? Here, I'm going to spoil the end of the Russia-Ukraine war. All of these people in leadership roles in the West that are like, we must, for democracy, for sovereignty, we must fund Ukraine. We have to do it. All of the people with Ukrainian flags in their bio that's like, oh my gosh, we have to face them. Inevitably, they're going to move on. They're going to say, oh, here's the new thing. Here's the new cause. And then you know what's going to happen when that happens? You know what's going to happen? The people of the Ukraine are fucked. They're going to be left a smoldering pile. And that's it. It's the same story that happened in Afghanistan.
And that is a very sad thing, by the way.
Right. And so you can see it over and over, the same pattern. Syria, Afghanistan, Libya, Iraq. It's over and over. We're told, you know, think of the viral campaigns. Remember Coney 2012? Remember all this shit, these viral campaigns? Oh, this is the biggest issue in the world. Oh, you know, fight to the last man. Rah, rah, rah. Okay, anyways, my attention span's moved on to something else now. See ya. And then, so at the end of the day, it was always going to end with only basically two possibilities. I guess three. The third and least likely possibility was that somehow Russia just got their ass kicked so bad that they just went home. That's probably not going to happen. Then the other two options were basically the West gets directly involved in fighting Russia, which basically is
that's not going to happen.
That could happen. That's a declared war. That's probably the start of World War III. No, that's really
you
bad.
You don't have the young boys that want to fight in those wars. You don't have the European support. Well, the European leadership wants it to happen, but you're gonna have a draft where nobody actually wants to go. So they're just going to move, or they're just going to break their own legs to show I cannot fight.
Yeah, and so that's and then the third option is, and the most likely option is, eventually people are going to move on, and Ukraine's going to be left holding the bag. And it's like, now what? Where is your negotiating position once the United States and the West? Let's even assume that Zelensky's not corrupt. The position he's in, the problem is, as soon as the distraction occurs, as soon as it's like, ho-hum, now the United States has other stuff to worry about. Now the European Union has other stuff to worry about. Then what happens to you? You are reliant on these other countries to fund the war effort. And so the problem is they're never going to look at it like you. It's not life and death like it is the people of Ukraine. And so, spoiler alert, inevitably, those countries in the West are going to move on to another cause. Because the truth is, they don't give a shit about the people of Ukraine. They don't give a fuck. They don't care at all.
Yeah, but they don't give it.
Let me finish though. So they don't care. All of this claim of like, well, you know, Lindsey Graham and Joe Biden and the leaders of the European Union, they say that we're funding this because it's morally righteous. We must support the people of Ukraine. It's about protecting democracy and sovereignty. That's not what it's about. No. It's about geopolitical strategy and they going against their enemy, Russia, and funneling a bunch of money that they're able to give to their allies and corrupt fucking kickbacks. That's what's going on. And as soon as that ship dries up, they ain't gonna give a fuck about the people of Ukraine. They're going to leave them hanging high and dry. So my solution was always stop funding it. We should not be involved as the United States in funding these foreign wars. We should be involved saying, we'll sit down and we'll try to negotiate peaceful resolutions. That should be the role. But enough of this funding both sides of all these wars bullshit, because all it's doing is prolonging the war. And at the end of the day, how many thousands of people died in Ukraine as a result of prolonging the war for another 2 years? And what was it worth it? What did Ukraine get out of that deal? The only people that win are the people in the West that were able to get the contracts and the money sent out and the money kickback and all that shit. The people that lose are, the people that died in Russia and the people that died in Ukraine. And ultimately, Ukraine as a country is going to be the loser in this conflict, no matter what. Unless the cause is made that there's a direct intervention between European Union and the United States to directly declare war. Barring that happening, Ukraine loses. That's it.
I fully agree, and I don't think Trump would go in a full war against Russia. So they lost, and now he's posturing and saying, look, they started the war, we're trying to make a decision here. And I think it's a good thing. And you think it's a good thing too. But my second thing about immigration, I talked about it. But so the America under Trump has been, kind of good with stopping illegal immigration, let's say. So I was thinking maybe because Trump was good in stopping illegal immigration, it will stop European legal immigration, but that's not happening. It's very sad. I don't know. Maybe that's just a statement.
Well, I think
because
the problem is, you know what the best hope for you in Europe is as a result of Trump positively affecting? It has nothing to do with legislation. It has to do with, one, perhaps the Overton window will shift enough and enough people in your country that, because what happens is there's been so much globalist influence on the United States and these European countries that the narrative's just been set. You're a bigoted racist if you're not against, or if you're against unfettered immigration.
No, we are racist. It's fine.
But that was the narrative. And if you look at a country like the United States and it's like, you know what? It turns out that the majority of the people are like, fuck you. That's how they feel. And maybe that's how they feel in these European countries. Yeah. There's a story I remember reading about Mao's China. And one of the things they would do is they had this little red book, which is basically like a religious text. And it was like had prayers in it to Mao. And they would read out of this book like once a day. Like imagine it hits high noon and the whole town stops working and you all stop and you start praying about how Mao's the greatest leader ever. And they interviewed people after Mao died and they're like, what did you think about that? And everybody, not everyone, but so many people were like, we thought it was ridiculous, but I thought I was the only person that thought it was ridiculous. You're afraid to speak up. So in your head, you're like, this is ridiculous, but I must be the only person that thinks that. And I think that you see a lot of that, right, with this sort of, oh shit, I can't speak out about this, it's deemed racist. But if you look at a country like the United States, that was the same message when Trump won the primary in 2016. You had all of these vultures of like the sort of, political class that surrounded Trump and were like, listen, okay, you won the primary. You need to stop talking about the immigration shit though. That's a political loser. No, that is a massive political winner. And they were wrong because they wanted to push that sort of agenda to displace people in this country. And now Trump's proven it. Trump's proven like that they're still caught off guard. These globalists, these, establishment Democrats and Republicans, they're still caught off guard. They're like, oh my God, look at Trump's violent deportations, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not resonating. People are like, good. Deportations. Sure, there's little minute things that we might not like how it happens all the time, but get these fucking people out. We're tired of it. We're tired of the open border. And no amount of propaganda so far has changed it. So there's a chance that you see that change in Europe as well. But the direct impact that's most hopeful for countries of Europe is how much US dollars in the form of USAID is going to NGOs that's directly going into your country to push this open border legislation. And Trump ending that may actually be a significant blow to unfettered open borders in European countries.
Yeah, well, one thing, I hope that US goes out of the European Union so we can govern ourselves again. And it will be a hit on us. I understand that, but that's what needed. That's what's needed.
Well, hey, listen, Only Mortal. I got to let you go because I got to try to raise a little money here. I got to be out at 3:00 and I have one more call.
No problem.
But thank you so much
Thanks
for the
for
call.
having me.
Yes, of course. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, I
sir.
hope I didn't annoy you or something.
No,
I hope you
the
enjoyed it.
audio issues are one thing. It happens to me all the time. No big deal. Didn't annoy me at all. So thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Have a
man.
good one.
We'll see you. All right. All right. Okay. We have one more caller on the line. But I mean, we're only at 51% of our goal. What's happening? What's happening to the Oh my goodness. $51%. Parker, what do you think of that? Goodness gracious. Let's see here. For the grift, give me money, fuckers. Obscene. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah. Everybody's broke this week. Well, the griftathon's tonight. I assume everyone's saving money for the griftathon. That must be what's happening at 1 a.m. tonight. Come challenge the great William Kramer Jr. And here's the thing. William's very petty. And I bet if someone donates, if all of you collect your money together and donate like $1,000, William will match it. And then I win. See how it works? So make sure you come in for the griftathon tonight. We'll start at 10 p.m. Eastern doing a regular political show, but the griftathon will start around at 1 a.m. Should be a lot of fun. You're broke because you're a cripple. Yeah, that's a good reason to be broke. So, all right. We'll bring in the last caller, then we'll grift a little. That's what $15 is big bucks. I ain't shitting on that. Hell yeah. Vita, how's it been, man?
Can you hear me, Rob?
Yes, I hear you. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing, man? This is going to be a short call. I just want to call you and congratulate you, man. You've been killing it. It's amazing. I mean, I've been watching you since probably 2018 when I first saw you, Drone Tech bring you up against Destiny, and ever since I've been a fan, and just seeing you grow and become one of the highest rated donated shows, donos on YouTube. It's unbelievable. So congratulations, man. That's all I got.
Vita, that means a lot, man. And I know I've seen you in my chat a long time, many years. And one of the things that's like so cool to me is I remember, you remember when we were live streaming to like 5-6 people.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. So, I don't think I'm shaking the world. Like I have about 100 people watching in all my platforms right now. But man, that's a lot of people. And it's humbling that I think what we've built here, and it's not just me, it's the community in general. What we built's like not just like, I hope that it's not just people that are in the audience, but it's people that feel like they're in a community. And that's why I'm proud that like the amount of, not just the super chats, but the amount of engagement I get in general per person watching is amongst the highest of any channel in the country. And for me, that's more important. Don't get me wrong. I'll be happy to have 30,000 people watching me per show. But man,
Right.
It feels really good to know that there are people watching that actually give a shit. And so I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know you've been watching for a very long time, so it means a lot to me, man. It really does. So
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's only you're gonna have your break. It's gonna take you going on some Tim Pool or Trigonometry or one of these shows. And once people see you, and that's the thing that I wish when you went on Tim Pool you had a chance to debate somebody and really show. Instead you had to play basically moderator between Tim Pool and that other guy with Israel and all that crap.
Yeah, that sucked. That did. The original plan was that I was going to debate people like Destiny or the Krasantines on that morning show, but it fell through. And so the guy that they brought on, Benjamin Wingarden, was pretty cool, but he agreed with me and everything. And so it's like, it's less fun. I want to debate people. And so you're right. I'm going to get opportunities like that. And, all you could ask for in life is to, when an opportunity comes in front of you, to take advantage of it. And, I'm not trying to talk myself up too much, but I think I'm pretty good. And if I get those opportunities, that I'll make it entertaining and that I'll put on a good show. So
one more thing before I go, just one more thing. I don't think you need to go on any of those like Prime Case or Dylan Burns or those crappy ass, lefty shows. Now, again, because of people like you and Andrew and Sarah Tomato and Gibbs, now you have a platform to go where they're not gonna sandbag you with 10 people against you and the moderator against you, whether it's that piece of crap Wick or whoever. So I hope I never see you in one of those shows again, because they're gonna be wanting you rather than you having to go to them and deal with all that crap that they put you through all the time.
It's sound advice, man. I'll let you go, Vita, and I'll talk about that point. But thank you again. Thank you
All
so
right, man.
much.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's hard because for me, it's like part of me deep down just wants to do debates and stuff. And so it's like I don't really care who's moderating it. But Vita's absolutely right. We're also trying to do something. There is a goal. It's not just growing my channel, it's growing like-minded individuals. I want every single type of streamer there is to have people that share close points to my ideology to do better. If you're a gaming streamer and you're a lefty versus a righty, I want the righty to win. If you're a welding streamer and it's a lefty versus a righty, I want the righty to win. If you're a panel show and it's lefty versus a righty, I want the righty to win. Right? And so, yeah, I did Prime Kelly's show a couple weeks ago because I felt like I owed him, because I had to back out of a show of his over a year and a half ago. So I've fulfilled what I think was my commitment. But yes, as far as those panel shows, I'm going on Gibbs' show. I'm going to go on Grid's show. I'm going to go on Speakeasy show, Verbal Combat. I'm going to go on Sarah Tomato's show. That's where I'm going. I'm not going to go on Dylan Burns' panel. I'm not going to go. And it has nothing to do with sandbagging. I like that. Fuck it. Bring on 10 people to debate me. I don't give a shit. And it has to do with like who I'm trying to prioritize. And you're absolutely right. There's an idea of people need you more than you need them. And that's the position I find myself in now. I don't need it. I don't need to go to those people and try to get debates. I just don't give a shit. It's like, well, I don't care. With that soy pill guy and Wick and that little thing, I have no real animosity to soy pill or Wick at all. In fact, I don't know soy pill very well. I think Wick seems like a likable guy for a lefty. And he's here in PA. I had someone reach out to me the other day like, hey, you and Wick and me should get together and do some things. Nope, not interested. Not interested at all. And, the reason was because that soy pill guy tried to big time me. He lied about a tweet in order to get me to have a certain type of conversation with him where I was like, oh, I'm very excited that you seem to be a good faith person and let's have this conversation. And then he bragged right at the beginning of the debate, haha, I tricked you. I made that all up. Okay, fuck you then. I'm not talking to you. And then Wick decided to be a big man and it's my channel and blah, 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 and you're a piece of shit. Okay. That's it. So, Wick, good luck to you. No hard feelings, but I don't need you. I don't. I don't need any of those people. And you might be like, maybe it'll be a mistake. Maybe Wick will become the next Joe Rogan. And I doubt that'll happen. But from the bottom of my heart, I would say, man, that's pretty cool. Good for you, Wick. I would. I'm not wishing ill on him as an individual. I just choose to be like, I don't need it. I don't need it. That's how I feel about it. So let's get the donos in. We have a special last minute guest, one of my favorite people to talk to. But we're going to let's see. I mean, at this point, I'm desperate. Let's just take any amount of donation here. Yeah, that call was great, Peter. I don't know. The audio issues, shit happens. It was fine. It wasn't that bad. Who could this caller be? Someone send in a super chat so we could see. Is it Bernie Sanders? Maybe. Wait. Is it Bernie?
Hello, it is me, Bernie Sanders. I am once again asking you to donate money to Normal America with robnoerr. The oligarchy must be defeated. The only...
Right, shut up, Bernie. We got a real donation. It was Bernie, you got it. The great Mr. Ubercross. What is happening today,
Well,
sir?
hey,
Yeah,
how's it going?
that's like a trademark of mine now. I try to wait back screen when I see someone typing or something, and then hurry up and bring them in real quick, so it's like unprepared. Get them on the back foot right out of the gate. That's my strategy. So, what's happening today, man?
Oh, not too much. I got done with the guy. I hadn't been listening. I saw you were live, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll see if I can hop in before you wrap things up.
Yeah, always time to hear from you. I always enjoy talking to you. So, what's on your mind today?
Well, I was thinking about it. I didn't get a chance to when you were debating RTP the other week. I wanted to. I thought about. I had to go to bed, so I couldn't do it. I was gonna see if I could get onto the open panel afterwards because I was getting really irritated with really anything that he was talking about as far as the economy goes, because he really just genuinely didn't seem to have an inkling of what was going on, and it was honestly a really irritating experience.
I was happy, like me and you had a decently long conversation about tariffs the other day, right? And there's interesting things to say, and these are not, let me be clear here, this is not oftentimes when it comes to decisions like this, if you're honest, it's never 100% good or 100% bad. You're weighing it, pros and cons, right? Like that's the way that economic policy is.
Right.
So I was happy. I was very happy to get into, is Trump's tariff policy good, right? Are Trump's policies, I'm fine to get into that conversation. The problem we were having was you first have to sort of agree, what is the policy? What are the numbers, right? You have to have that agreement before you can move forward. And when like we start off where it's like, well, you know, real wage growth under Biden was up better than it was under Trump. And it's like, that's just not true. And like, we have to agree on what that number is. Again, I don't mean to the exact percentage point, but we have to have some ballpark idea. It was negative under Trump, it was positive, or negative under Biden, positive under Trump. And then you can say, well, there's a reason. The reason is because of COVID. That's fair. But what he was doing was gaslighting people about what the number was. And then when I was proving that the number wasn't there, he'd be like, well, it's all bullshit anyways, because we shouldn't trust any numbers because of COVID. So we don't trust them. I think that the key point in the debate, and I don't know if people noticed this, was when he was like, well, we can't, Rob, have you looked at the numbers after COVID for Biden? Have you looked at the numbers? And he just keeps spurging out. And what I'm trying to tell him is, what does that mean to you? Like 100 different people might say 100 different things of what are the numbers after COVID with Biden. Some might say after the first year. Some might say after the Inflation Reduction Act got into effect. Whatever. Tell me when the benchmark is, and then we could look at the data and we could say, okay, here's what it looks. And so I said, here's the real wage growth year 1 under Biden. Does that count? Nope. Here it is year 2 under Biden. Does that count? Nope. Here it is year 3 under Biden. Does that count? Well, what was the inflation rate? I tell him, nope, that doesn't count. Here it was year 4. And I knew what I was going to say. I almost said the real number, but then I was like, wait a minute. What if I say a high inflation number? So I'm like, here it is, real 4. He goes, what's the inflation rate? I said 6%. Nope. Can't count that either. In other words, for those of you listening, sometimes these numbers can be confusing. But what he said was, this is in effect what his argument is by proving that, well, if the numbers were good, we count it. But if they were bad, we don't.
Yeah,
that's it. That's his whole argument.
You can't use any of those 4 years as a gauge of what he did while he was a president, which is entirely ridiculous. And then
some, and real quick, simultaneously, but the first 6 months of Trump, we should count as Biden. Right. So we can't count the 4 years of Biden as Biden, but the first 6 months of Trump, we could count as Biden. But if the stock market crashes tomorrow, he ain't going to say, well, that's Biden's economy. He's going to say, well, now that's Trump. Now that the economy's crashed, it's Trump, you know?
Yeah, well, and the idea of like saying, well, you know, what we've got to do is we can't use actual inflation when we're talking about real wage growth. We've got to use what we think inflation ought to have been in an effort to, it's like saying like, well, we want to know how warm the earth is, but we're not going to count the sun. Like we're going to exclude the sun. And how warm is the earth without that? And it looks like, you know, temperatures are, you know, warm enough for people to live. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, for those that don't know, the metric that he was using was, because real wage growth, again, I'm no economist, but to put it as simple, so a simple person like me can understand, here's the number. You don't care about, last year I got $1 an hour raise. That sounds good. But if you're paying on average $2 an hour more to live, then that $1 an hour, your purchasing power has gone down, right? It doesn't matter if you get $1 an hour raise if all of a sudden gas is $8 a gallon. You're fucked, right? You're not keeping up with the pace of it. So what they use is a metric called real wage growth. And basically it's very simple. It's just the amount of actual wage growth minus the amount of inflation.
Right.
And so then even though your wages may have gone up 10%, if inflation went up 20%, you'll probably have on average less purchasing power. That's it. That's the metric that we're talking about.
Like what's the cost of housing? What's the cost of the consumer price index? Like these things they're not perfect correlations to what inflation actually is, but it's good enough. It's basically the best that we
That's right. And it's right. It's never going to be 1-to-1, but it gives you a general idea of like, okay, what's going, because wage growth's almost always going to go up because the money supply goes up, right? And so it's like you're always going to see, but that doesn't mean anything. If wages go up, but then inflation like is brutal, anyways, everybody gets the idea. So how would you measure that number? Well, you know, there's many ways you can measure it, but basically what you're doing is getting the actual amount that wages went up and the actual amount that inflation was. What this dude did was he uses the actual amount that wages went up and then what they targeted and wanted inflation to be. Not what inflation actually was, but what the hope was that it would be. Now, my argument to that is, once he said that after the debate, it's like, well, then why use the actual wage growth? Why not use what they wanted wage growth to be? So in other words, if Trump comes out and says, we got rid of Jerome Powell, and now we put in a new Fed, and the Fed's targeted inflation is 0.5%, and targeted wage growth is 1,000%. Trump just had the best economy, the best real wage growth in the history of the world. And you would say, but he didn't. My wages didn't get up. Doesn't matter, says RTP. All we're looking at was the target. It doesn't matter what actually happened. We're just looking at what they hoped happened. It's so baffling. And what it is it's a guy that knows he's bullshitting. It's a guy that's trying to make up numbers post hoc to justify. All he had to say was this. Yeah, you're right. The numbers I gave was actual wage growth. My mistake. But hey, let's talk about why real wage growth was down under Biden. Not only is that fine to do, it's a defensible argument. You could say Trump
defensible arguments in there. He like bypassed all of like when he said, actually the US did better in inflation. Like that's actually kind of an argument you could hang your hat on.
Sure.
He just he undercut himself by completely dismissing the inflation. But there's something you could say that it's like, the entirety of COVID, like it messed up everything. Inflation was out of whack. Yes, it was a bad decision. We had too much inflation. We increased the money supply, whatever. But in reality, we were still better than everybody else.
Yep.
And so by that metric, I would say he did an okay job. That's fair enough. Like you can argue that, but he kind of, by arguing that you can't even count inflation when we're talking about real wages, it's like, well, then what are we doing here? Like,
And then, by the way, this was the same. I said this for years under Biden. Like, I always try to put myself in the position of, like, what if I was on the other side? What if I'm just an average Joe Smo who's a Biden voter, right? And I'm struggling. In 2023, I'm struggling. Like, wage growth's down. Inflation's way up. I'm paying way more for milk and bread and shit like that. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to look to the guy I voted for. What's the plan? And instead of like, I don't know why their talking point wasn't always, we know you're struggling. We know inflation's really high. We know the economy's struggling, but it's not our fault. It's Trump's. He put us in this bad position and we're trying to make up ground. Instead, they were like, greatest economy ever.
Right.
And so you're that Biden voter and you're like, they're basically saying it must be a you problem because the country's doing great. Look at all the jobs we're creating. It's great. Things are going great. Fastest growing economy ever. And you're like, if you're that person that voted for Biden, isn't there a part of you like, well, I guess help's not coming because they're telling me there's not, how is there going to be help if they're telling me there's no problem? And that's sort of the take that RTP took. He went along with that instead of saying, of course there was a problem. Of course the numbers weren't good, but it wasn't our fault. It was the other guy's fault. That's an argument. And this might piss off some Trump voters. There's some legs to that, right? A lot of that spending and that M2 money supply, that shit was Trump. Trump was spending. And RTP's right to talk about debt spending under Trump. The problem is even with that number, he's full of shit. Like, because Biden... Right.
He got the numbers backwards.
That's right. And what I'm trying to say is, and it's frustrating because there were two ways to go in that debate for me. I hope I made the right decision, but in real time, what I was thinking was, okay, issue one's just to be like, hey, audience, I hope you catch that. He can't provide a source for this because he's wrong. Okay, moving on to the next topic. Or I could be like, no, fuck you. Show me the source. Show me the source. I want to see it. And I know that could be boring. And it's just, then it becomes this circular, oh, what do you mean show you that? You're not showing the source. It's like, yes, I just did. Well, I'm going to hold up this sign. And it's like 2 hours of just that repetitive. So I tried to, in the last half hour, like, let's hit a couple of these other topics real quick. But I sort of was like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to hold you to this so that the audience can see. Because elsewise, my audience, you're going to pick it up. But as the average listener, they might just be like, I don't know. This is above my head. I don't know whose data was right. So I'm trying to hit home the point. This dude's bullshitting you. He's just making shit up out of thin air because he's not prepared for the good faith conversation. And it's there. Me and you could have had a better debate, either of us on the other side, and been like, yep, that we agree on what the data is. Now let's explain why. And here's why Biden did better than Trump. Here's why Trump. That is a good debate. I'm happy to have that debate. But what frustrates me is when you debate people like that it's like, no, I'm just going to deny, and run the clock out and then be like, see, I win. Rob barely talked about anything. It's like, no, dude, you look like a total fool. Including with your little signs and stuff like that. I was happy that he did that. I thought that.
Yeah, I thought it was a bad look for him.
Can you imagine, like, you go to like some serious, like, two economist professors talking, and it's like, well, here's why I prefer Austrian economics, and the Keynesian's like, yeah, holding up signs. You'd be like, I don't think that guy's very serious. I don't think that guy's, So I was happy for it. But
if I was going to engage in a little bit of psychoanalysis of RTP, which I've got enough of a background that I think I can. I think that what happened with him is that my understanding is he grew up in the Mormon faith, and I think that he at some point kind of got black pilled on that. And so he got into a state of like nihilism where he was like, well, nothing that I believed was true. And he also grew up with kind of a Republican state of beliefs. And so he drifted away from that towards libertarianism. And now he's on the other side that it's like nothing that I believed before was accurate because I found reason to disbelieve this thing. And because I don't believe any of that, that means that all of my beliefs that I previously held should come into question, which is a fair position to take. But I think he took everything I believed was wrong. And so now he's trying to kind of post hoc reason himself into why what he used to believe was wrong. And his mind state is that's it. It's just, I was wrong before. I no longer have those beliefs. Those are no longer true. So, and that's like his baseline belief structure at this point is just, I was wrong before. And he's a fairly, charming guy.
Sure.
He's charismatic and I can understand why people watch him and, he puts on a good show, but I think that that's kind of where his beliefs are coming from. And it's why he doesn't I don't think he's got a real good underpinning to what his beliefs are. And
the problem is if you don't have a good underpinning and you're trying to debate, you could often come off looking as a little bit foolish. And so you compensate. And the way you compensate sort of like I'll hold up signs. That's one way. Or you just bullshit, right? Yeah. And you're just like, oh, the data says this. And anyways, I did this debate, and I was talking to my editor, Black Elk, about this. I'll bring up a clip of this someday. I got to find the timestamp because I did a debate review, and it's like 5 hours. And it was on Vosh debating Jackson Hinkle, right? And to me, it was fascinating, not because of the characters involved or even the topic, but something happened in that debate that I see happen all the times in debates. And it just, to me, it is something that is so infuriating to me. And it's not just these two characters, it's the strategy. What happens is, to shorten this as much as possible, Jackson Hinkle's arguing that there really was no proof that Gaddafi gassed his own people. And he's using primarily this guy who was a whistleblower from the OPCW, which was this sort of investigative body that was sent in by the European Union to investigate these gas attacks. And he was the leader of this group, and he came to the conclusion there was no gas attack from Assad. Right. So what did the Europeans do? They were like, well, then get that guy out of here and put a guy in there that says there will be. Right. So this guy then becomes a whistleblower. Now, this guy may be full of shit. He may be, right? I don't know. But that's the argument. So that's the debate. And so Jackson Hinkle's basically relying on the testimony of this one guy. And Vosh is sort of like, yeah, but Assad's a bad dude. That's the debate. Imagine 2 hours of that. But at one point towards the end of this debate, Vosh says, but actually, Jackson, you know that whistleblower you're talking about ultimately wrote that he concludes with me. Ultimately, he changed his mind. And in real time, you could see Jackson like, oh shit, because that's it. That's the end of the debate. 95% of Jackson's arguments hinged on this one guy. So if the guy ended up concluding, you know what, I was wrong. Actually, there was evidence that it was a gas attack by Gaddafi. That's it. Debate over. Right. And so you can see Jackson go, oh, but then he's like, well, can you show me where? And Vosh is like, oh yeah, I'll bring it up, but that's kind of foolish, blah, blah, blah. Then you can see Jackson's getting a little more confident, like, no, wait a minute, no. He didn't say that. When did he say that? Show me the proof. And Vosh is like, well, anyways, moving on to the next thing. Now, what I said was the insidious nature of this is there's almost no downside to Vosh doing this. If you're debating someone that doesn't know, and you could make this argument with RTP. If he says, here was the real wage growth numbers, and I don't know, wow, that's it. Then the audience is like, okay, real wage was better under Biden. So when Rob said in his opening statement that the opposite was true, Rob looks like a fool. Or I could say, wait a minute, you're actually wrong about the data. And you could say, yeah, but COVID, and we don't count any of it anyways. Anyways, moving on, right? That's how insidious that strategy is. And it's one thing to fuck up like, I'm sorry, I looked at the data wrong. That happens to all of us. But it's another thing that when it's being pointed out to you over and over again, you're wrong, and you know it. He knew it, you knew it, I knew it. Everyone that was paying attention to that debate, whether you're a supporter of his or mine, knew what was going on. They knew that he was full of shit about that data, and they knew that all of a sudden well, I have it, but I can't show you the source right now, was bullshit. They knew it. And that's what pisses me off, because it's like, I don't think that I'm not the type of person. There are very few issues that I'm just like are so repulsive for the other side. They on face, I'm just like, go fuck yourself. Like I think the people that believe that you could have an abortion at 9 months, it's so outlandish. I'm like, I don't even have the time of day to explain to you how horrific this is. People, obvious when you're talking about certain crimes against children that want to make excuses for that. I don't have the time of day for that shit. But other than that, man, even if you want to be like, I think government should own the means of production, I'll have that conversation. It's not,
absolutely. Why not?
You know, I'm not saying, oh, you're a terrible person. But what gets me is like when you get to these people where it's like, you're just being a bullshitter. You're just being a shithead. Just defend your position. You don't have to fucking like lie to people blatantly. Just blatantly lying. Just tell the truth.
Give your take, what your honest take is based off what the reality is. And unfortunately, when you come into a situation like that and then you don't have the correct information, then you're just going to look bad. And that's the reality. Hey, I'm sorry, I do have to get going. Apparently, I've got a call that's waiting over here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you as always, Mr. Ubercause. Take it easy, man. It's great to hear from you. Yeah, Imaginarium, I'm sorry if I didn't explain. Yes, Vosh just made that claim up. Vosh just completely made up the claim that this whistleblower changed his mind. So if Jackson would have been like, oh, he changed his mind, I guess that's it. Vosh wins the debate. But when Jackson's like, no, he didn't, Vosh is like, oh, well, anyways. So what's the negative consequence? What's the negative consequence? You just make shit up. And if the other side doesn't call it out, you win. Again, people make mistakes. People are ill-informed. But shit like that, where it's like you're like, what was it? Vosh read something? Was he like, oh, I'm sorry, I read this? No. Nah, I don't know. He's not even going to address it. You just made it up. You just made it. That's all it was. It wasn't a mistake. It's the same way with those numbers. RTP knew he was making those numbers up. He fucking knew it. He knew that the numbers he read from his opening statement were about wage growth, not real wage growth. And that's fine. And those numbers were probably accurate. But when I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that's real wage growth. He's like, yeah, it was. Can I see the numbers? No. It's from the CFRB. I don't have the document in front of me. I'll send it to you later. I don't think those numbers are going to say that. I think you're full of shit. Then he sends me numbers not from the CFRB. And it's just numbers on something that has nothing. It's just nominal wage growth. And then he's like, but if we take it against 2.5 inflation, then these numbers sort of act out. Where did you get the number 2.5? Targeted inflation. That has nothing to do with how we calculate real wage growth. And he knows it. How could you send money? You don't have PayPal. Well, there's a question I like. You can send it through the YouTube Super Chats, but if you don't have that, PayPal at Robert Noerr, but you don't have that. There's buymeacoffee.com/RobNoerr. And then there's Cash App at $RobNoerr. Those are the 4 ways you can send me money. But, all right, I'm going to wrap up. I'm 20 minutes over the show and an hour, 20 minutes over when I was supposed to be done. Show will be back at 10 o'clock tonight. I'm going to go hang out with my lovely family. We lose, unless someone wants to send in, what would it be? 160 bucks here? Unless someone's about to throw in 160 bucks. We lose. This guy wins. It's a shame. Now, I know my family is lovely. I do have the most lovely family. But it's a shame. Now, I know people are saving their money for tonight's griftathon. I know, but still, this guy's going to, right now, he's got a big smile on his face. Yeah, you can send money with your phone to the YouTube Super Chat or to Cash App or PayPal. Cash App's simple. You download Cash App, it's real simple. Thank you. I saw I missed a Super Chat. I'm sorry. Vita, $5 says, thanks for taking my call, Rob. Anytime, man. Thank you to all the callers. You guys are the best. We'll see. Maybe Peter's about to send 160 bucks. Right? You never know. There's the griftathon. Don't leave Spiro see that it's clear that clock has too many hands. Spiro, flip out if he knows where that image came from. Thanks, man. It means a lot. It is far less stressful. I went to the doctor and my blood pressure was like 113/77. They're like, wow, that's the best it's ever been. And I am eating better and stuff, but it's like, yeah, I don't have a super stressful job anymore. It's much nicer. So, where do you go for what? The super chat? Okay. I think I could help. Here's me. You see right here where it says chat? I'm like, buh, 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 buh. And then right over here, there's a little money symbol. If you click that, that'll start the process. Now, sometimes YouTube's wonky. It might not leave you donate, but that's in theory how you do it. Cover the VIG. That's all right. We're doing, dude, trust me, we're doing fine. It's a weird thing. Again, someone could donate $1 million right now, and tomorrow I'm going to be like, hey, we're trying to get to our goal of $357. So it's a weird thing. So it's like I'm not missing many meals because the donos aren't coming in. I'm doing much better than I anticipated. But that doesn't mean I'm still not going to push to do better. So I'm always trying to push to get to the goal. So never apologize, though, for the people that support me. And it's like, oh, I wish I could give more. It's totally cool. Totally cool. The link will always be at the because I use a different StreamYard studio every time I stream, so there won't be a link in the description. The link will be above the chat, but it'll be a unique link every time I do a show. Yeah, so don't just copy and paste that link and try to use it next time. It won't work. But there will be a new link at the top that you can call in. But I do have to get going, so I'm sort of stalling to see if Peter figures out how to do the super chat thing. He's going to donate like thousands of dollars right now. And people are going to be like, hooray! You don't have PayPal. I don't think, is PayPal the only thing you could donate super chats with? I don't know. Well, Peter, I don't know, man. I don't know any other system that you could donate through. It's difficult without like a payment processor like that online. You need like a bank account number or something that works through some of these things. I don't know. I thought that YouTube allowed you to put things other than PayPal in, but I don't know. Well, anyways, Peter, I appreciate the thought. I'll be back to streaming tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then the Griftathon, it'll go continuous. 10 p.m. will start tonight, and eventually at around 1 a.m. we'll start the Griftathon. Should be able to gift memberships. Should be able to. But then I'll be taking Friday, Saturday off, and you'll probably see me Sunday night. I'll probably be back. Weekend shows are always a shit show, though. I should have a QR code. I do. Look at this. Bam. Buy me a coffee. QR code. Donate there. Scan that QR code. It'll take you right to buy me a coffee, and you could donate. I always forget to put that up. Yeah, I thought any debit or credit card worked on the super chat. Oh, that's right. I do know. Watch out, man. I'm learning. By the way, I like the guitar in your pic. When I was 12 years old, I got a guitar that I never really played, but it was pearl white. I don't know what kind it was, but it looked cool. It was a nice room decoration. Then I got a bass guitar that I did play just a little. When I was older in life. I bought it from my friend for like $100. Bitcoin QR code. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness Are We Not Men's not here. I have to set up a Bitcoin wallet. I had one set up, but it's super confusing. So Are We Not Men sent me the information on how to start like an easier Bitcoin thing. I will start that tonight. I'll start it. Oh, look at this. Fuel My Fire, $20. Not only calling in and giving us content, but says this is my limit for the week. Man, thank you so much, Fuel My Fire. May your pool matchups be forever in your favor. Spiro, is your debate tonight? Is that tonight? Are you going to be on Sarah's channel tonight? Let me check. I'm sure Spiro will just tell me, but it is live in 5 hours. Spiro's going to be debating. Oh, man. Well, now listen, I probably won't be able to watch the beginning of that. but I'll happily jump on the panel and talk shit. I don't know. Like, now listen, Spiro's going to crush me in this debate because all I know from AI, I know from Spiro. So it's gonna be hard to argue against it. But yeah, that sounds like that'll be fun tonight. We'll hop on in the open panel and we'll argue with Spiro about something. We'll find something to argue about with Spiro's takes on AI. We'll crowdsource it. In fact, maybe I'll just use Grok to come up with arguments as to why Spiro's AI's takes are bullshit. Brilliant. Finally, the Rob GPT finally comes full circle. Now he's arguing with Spiro about AI, using AI. Brilliant. It's going to be a very meta evening. I'm very excited. I knew that you were doing that debate, but I forgot that it was tonight. I'm very excited to come on and try to argue. We'll try our best. I'm going to look like a total fool. I'm gonna look like a total fool because I don't know what I'm talking about on AI. But I will try my best to do what I can. And I will fully admit, I'll say it now. Some of the things I'll say tonight are probably not things I believe. It's more of like when Spiro called in on the panel when I was there and he was arguing like Russiagate was bullshit. It's not that he believes it. It's that it's good content and it's nice to push people so that they could sharpen their own arguments. So I think it'll be fun. All right. Now we got something to look forward to tonight. 60% of the goal. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll be back around 10 p.m. tonight. You go over to Spiro's channel. Oh, there we go. Lower class coming up for $10. Says make it up for last time. Get the super chats in, chat. Oh, shit. See, it's always tough. Thank you so much, lower class. Now, I don't know. In fact, as we're going on here, is lower class, sometimes he's streaming now. Maybe he's streaming and we could raid into him. I forgot to check who's streaming. I'm sort of at a different time here. Okay. Well, Grid's streaming. We could raid Grid. Let's do that. You're starting in 30 minutes. I can't do it. My wife will. I know I have yard work to do, so I can't. Please let it be raining. Then I could avoid the yard work. That would be wonderful. Wonderful. It's going to be like an open panel. Where's the whip? You got to pay $20. Oh, shit. Yeah. There was a donation of $20. Well, shit. I missed it.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, we don't want to go to war today. But the Lord of the Lashes says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's sword.
Oh, there. I almost missed it. That $20 donation. Thank you. Keeping me on my toes. My own chat knows the rules of my channel better than me. It's amazing. Wow. Well, there you go. If anyone else wants to hear it again real quick, $20. I could justify to my wife $20 at a time, not coming downstairs right now. That I could justify. But there's Lower Classes channel. Please, please, please check it out. Again, I know I say this a lot, but I really do appreciate. I think you don't understand that there's such a plethora of awesome sort of right-leaning streamers out there that you all could check out. And I would thoroughly enjoy. I don't even give a shit if they surpass me by leaps and bounds. Great. That's awesome. That's really how I feel. And so I think everyone's offering something different. There's our friend Spiro. Now, I don't have to worry about Spiro covering the same things as me, because like I have an intelligence level like here and Spiro's like up here. So like it's like he's not going to be talking about like, hey guys, tune into my show. We're going to play this whip song every 5 minutes. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And let me tell you these like, penis jokes. Spiro's too highbrow for that. He's like, what? Penis jokes? What, did AI write that? That's what Spiro said. But no, Spiro's a great guy too. So check out their channel. Look, go over real quick. Give a sub. Subs are free. Then you'll get notifications. You can check them out. But I think it's great stuff. All right. I got to get going. I really do. That's right. Despite what Andrew tells you every day, I am intelligent too. I try. I hide my power level. That's what I'm doing behind button-down shirts with hot dogs on them that have a little pink coloration that the audience what's out about. All right, I'll be back at 10 p.m. this evening. Thank you guys for everything. I really appreciate it. Enjoy this raid of Grid Motorsports on Unreasonable Man. By the way, Emigad, I got to talk to you, man. Nothing bad, but potentially about you and EOD maybe going to... Hey, there, it's Emmett as well. Awesome. You and EOD potentially going to DebateCon and like meeting up there and stuff. So one of these days, I'm busy today, but I'll reach out to you one of these days and just talk some logistics and shit like that. I think it's going to be... Yes, Emmett, I saw your message as well. Yeah, maybe next week at some point we could bring you on, just like in the evening show. I think it'd be great. Talk for like an hour or so about economics. I think it'd be good shit. So, no, Amigad's not in trouble. I think Amigad, maybe there's a chance that Amigad's going to be meeting up with me and EOD at DebateCon, and I think that would be great. So I just wanted to coordinate with them and see, because I know that you're not that far away, if I understand, from where it'll be. So I just wanted to pick your brain on a couple things that we're talking about. So anyways, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you to everyone that donated. Thank you to everyone that called in. Thank you to my moderators. Thank you to Black Elk. Thank you to all the great channels, like people like Lower Class, Spiro, Kurt, that have channels that you guys should be checking out. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all of you that participated in the chat or that just sat back and listened. Really, it makes the channel so much fun for me, and I think so much fun for us as a community. It's really a great feeling. I will be back at 10 p.m. Eastern this evening to do an actual politics show. Plus, I'll probably just play that whip song like a bunch of times to make money. Whatever. And then we're going to do the weekly Griftathon, where the great William Gramer Jr. is highly motivated to be a 3-time winner. He's going to bring a bunch of money. So save your pocketbooks to come for the Griftathon. For a mere donation of $5, you'll have a chance to win and beat the great William Gramer Jr. So be there or be probably wealthier because you're not spending your money donating on some idiot like me. Nonetheless, thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the raid of Grid Motorsports. I am out. As always, have a good one.